I solemnly swear that I am up to no good.
Hey everybody, welcome to episode 74 of Tales from Godric's Hollow, the number one anti-large spider podcast. I am one of your hosts. I am the muggle of the show. I am a year older. I am Josh Brown. I am joined by the man who enjoyed many a Thanksgiving meals this past week, none other than the Professor, Matt Sonnenberg. Hi, Matt.
Hi, Josh.
How are you?
I'm good. I just realized as you're doing your intro that this is your first full year, like birthday to birthday, that you've had of Harry Potter.
That's right. That Harry Potter has been in my life, Matt.
Yeah.
It's been a year.
It's true.
Plus. How was your Thanksgiving? Or Thursday for our international listeners?
Yep. For me, it was definitely Thanksgiving. Definitely got my fair share of turkey, which I don't complain about. Turkey, honestly, is one of my favorites.
Yeah.
I enjoy a good fresh turkey.
How was the turkey prepared?
I think this year both of them that I had were just kind of seasoned and stuffed in an oven.
Right.
Yeah. I don't think there was anything too fancy. No deep fryers involved.
I made a fried turkey, Matt.
Yeah?
Yeah. I, however, have an infrared turkey fryer. It runs off of propane. And there's no oil. So it's the same kind of like colander pot situation that you would have with like a normal deep fryer.
Yeah.
But it's thicker, and however it's made, you start it up and there's low flames around the entire base of it, and that heats it up, and somehow, by magic or whatever the case may be, Matt, 2.5 hours later, an 18-pound turkey is deep fried, crispy, golden, delicious, and it's amazing.
Wow. Yeah. I think because I had to wait for the first turkey, actually. Like, it was fresh.
Right.
And like they're claiming the recipe said it would only take like 3.5 hours or something
in
for
an
this
oven?
for this 14-pound turkey.
Oh no.
And I'm like, yeah, I don't know about that. It took more like 5 or 6, I think.
Sure. Yeah, that's about normal.
Yeah.
My turkey was delicious.
You got this figured out now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, you've seen all those like disaster videos and pictures of like people trying to deep fry turkeys, and honestly, when it comes down to it, it's sheer stupidity. It's people trying to put a semi-frozen or still a little bit frozen or still very much soaking wet turkey into a pot of boiling hot oil.
Yeah, so the biggest thing you can do is put water and oil in boiling oil. Yeah.
Bad idea. So with this thing, you just drop it in and you light it and nothing. Like it's extremely hot, so you still have to be careful about it.
So, yeah.
But I mean, if it tips over or whatever, like there's nothing. It's just, it's amazing. Technology these days, man. Mr. Weasley would be fascinated by the things that I got going on in my kitchen with all my muggle utensils and such.
Or should he be confiscating them?
No, I mean, I would show him around. He wouldn't need to take it. I would gladly let him, investigate to the fullest capacity without having to actually confiscate them.
All right.
Although he'd probably still swindle me and take them away anyway, so.
So he can take them apart.
Yeah, yeah, well, I'm glad you had a good Thanksgiving. As I mentioned, I did have a birthday, and I posted this on Instagram because I kind of had like a Harry Potter birthday.
Yeah, that seems to be a thing now. I think you had a Harry Potter Christmas last year.
Yeah. Val's,
that was kind of the beginning of things.
Yeah, she's discovered that, like, I've always been kind of hard to shop for because I, like probably you, I imagine, when we want something, we just get it for ourselves type of thing, you know?
Typically, yeah. The good news is my wife is kind of the same way. And so we've kind of got to the point where it's like we don't necessarily have birthday and Christmas specific gift giving times.
Right.
Like, it's just kind of, yep, you want this? You got it. Sure.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
So, for people that aren't like that, it makes it difficult for them when they're trying to buy gifts.
Yeah.
But I have, because of, you know, all the different circumstances that are put on me, kind of resisted buying Harry Potter things for myself.
Yeah.
So Val takes advantage of that situation as much as possibly can. This birthday, I got a Hufflepuff patch. I got a Marauders map. I got a new Muggle wallet, which is amazing.
Is the map the big one that like folds out and shows you everything?
It does fold out. It's kind of weird. Like, it's not. It's really hard to explain, but yes, it does show the full grounds and everything like that. So
okay,
yeah,
okay.
It completely unfolds several different layers to it.
Yeah,
pretty cool. And then a couple of T-shirts. One is a standard Hogwarts T-shirt with all the different houses associated, and I already drew a big old red X through the Slytherin house, like you do. And then another T-shirt that I feel like she's just messing with me at this point.
Yeah.
It's some symbol. I've seen it before. She got me a gift with that symbol for Christmas. Yep. I've seen that symbol in Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. I've seen that symbol in pretty much everything associated with Harry Potter since I started paying attention to Harry Potter.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I have a very similar shirt. Yeah.
No clue what it is, Matt.
Yeah.
Nothing. No indication whatsoever that I would have any sort of guess as to what it possibly is.
It's honestly, in my opinion, one of the greatest things to have come out of this series. In that, I mean, you look at that shirt. If you would have looked at that shirt 2 years ago, like, oh, okay, some geometric shapes.
Yeah.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But any Harry Potter fan sees that and it's like, oh, that's so good.
But why?
Exactly
why is it so good, Matt? Why? What is it? What does it mean? Why is it important to the story?
In less than a year, you will understand.
It's driving me nuts. And the one thing I have the hardest time wrapping my head around is how the world, this symbol, gets translated into the book. Because I'm guessing that it comes from the book. It's not like a movie-driven thing.
Oh, no. Yeah, it's definitely in the book.
So I just... It's killing me, Matt. And Val knew what she was doing with it. And it's, somebody on Twitter brought up a good point. Like, am I afraid to wear it? Like, in case somebody, like, decides to have, like, a Harry Potter conversation with me about it or something. And it's like, oh, crap.
That's probably a good point.
Maybe I'll just wear it under hoodies and know that I'm wearing it, but, like, not really, like, show it off type of thing. Like, I'm stressing big time about this, Matt.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like at this point there shouldn't be any more secrets, and there's like one big giant one staring me at the face.
Yep.
It's maddening. Why is that important? What's the symbol mean? What does it represent? Why is it so cool? Why is it so important? Is it bad? Is it a Death Eater thing? Like, are you guys just, like, messing with me this whole time? And, I should be wearing that when I'm waving my Death Eater wand around. And I'm at a loss, Matt. I'm frustrated and antsy.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, as a kid, you knew your parents had Christmas presents for you, right?
Sure.
And they weren't under the tree yet, but you knew that they had something for you already.
Yeah.
And it's like, you could go search the house and find them if you really wanted to. But you know better.
Well.
Right?
Maybe.
You know they're probably in their closet or...
most of the time.
You know, under their bed or a hallway closet or something behind some old linens or something. Like, if you, took a few minutes to look in all the obvious spots, you could easily find out what it is.
Yeah.
But then come Christmas time, it's going to be like, well, okay, I knew this was happening. With the exception of whatever good old jolly Saint Nick brings you, through his awesome chimney, Christmas is ruined. So, not ruined,
it's not
spoiled,
ruined. Like,
spoiled.
You're still excited to actually get the thing and be able to use it or wear it or whatever the case may be. It's just the surprise of what it is gone.
That's where I'm at with the symbol, Matt. Like, I am one Google search away from finding out what this symbol means and why it's important.
It's true.
Would it ruin the story for me? Probably not. But would it ruin the surprise and the impact? Yes. And also, the fact that I know it exists and that I know it's a thing, like, Sirius dying, right? No, but, like, I had no indication that was coming. I had nothing to, like, it wasn't like I knew it was going to happen and I was just waiting for it. I just didn't know when.
Yeah.
I know it's a thing. I'm
trying to think if we had any indication prior to reading about it.
About the symbol?
Yeah. I'm guessing
we
probably
as in you and
not.
I? Or we as in you and the general audience as
Me and the general audience.
I see.
Like, you might have a leg up on us.
Yeah. Because I know it's a thing. I know it's a symbol. I know that it's important. I know people go crazy about it.
Yeah.
People have it tattooed,
like, there's no way
everything.
that you would be able to avoid that symbol. Like you said, it was in Fantastic Beasts.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
I've seen people with tattoos on it. There's so much of it out there. It's impossible to avoid.
Yep.
But it's so amazing that while it's impossible to avoid, that there's nothing spoilery associated with it anywhere. Because you just see the symbol and you know what it is.
That's why it's so great. The symbol is enough.
It's, like I said, it's maddening. It's driving me crazy. And now that I have a shirt, like, the pendant that I got last year for Christmas, it's awesome, but I could put it away and not have to look at it and think about it on a regular basis. But this is a really awesome shirt. Like, it's soft. It's like a shirt that feels good to wear.
Yep.
And it's just like, I'm wearing something that I have no idea what it is, and this is the craziest thing.
I know you appreciate your shirts.
I just don't know what to do with myself, Matt. So that's that. Just had to get that out of my system. That I'm slowly going crazy. So,
fair enough.
Yeah. One other thing over this last week that we haven't talked to each other, as I was scrolling through Twitter one day, I happened to come across a tweet regarding a movie adaptation of Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. And I did not click on the link.
It's probably a good thing.
I saw nothing other than that there was a film adaptation by Joss Whedon being made. And I said, awesome! I need to run away from Twitter right now. The next day, I saw through another tweet that it was just a fake tweet in the first place. So, I got all excited, and then I got very anxious and nervous because when new stuff regarding Harry Potter comes out, especially in the future, which I think this is, I actually don't even know if it happens before or after. I guess it'd have to be after, right? Yeah, because it's a Harry Potter story. It's not a prequel. Is it a prequel? No, it's not a prequel.
Well, I mean, Fantastic Beasts is a prequel.
Yeah, but Harry Potter didn't know anything, so that'd be a weird story to tell. Like, we already knew a story beforehand. Did we? Maybe not. I don't know. What I'm trying to say is, anything that's not Fantastic Beasts at this point, and even now, like, I'm nervous about Fantastic Beasts stuff. Anything new coming from the world of Harry Potter is, like, just red alerts for me to stay away from social media. So,
yeah.
The fact that this was a fake tweet and it's not really happening that I know of makes me feel better about things. Because the Potterheads out there would be whipped into a frenzy if a new movie was being made of.
Yeah, I'm honestly surprised that you even caught wind of it. If it was a real thing, there would have been so much more news about it.
Yeah. But, well, again, I saw it early in the morning, and then I was just like, okay, I'm done with Twitter right now because this could be really bad. So yeah, and then with Thanksgiving and just a crazy weekend with kids and everything like that, it was easy to stay away from social media. So
sure, yeah.
But just want to throw that out there because I'm sure everybody listening to this had caught wind of it in some capacity, either before or after it was revealed to be fake. But I know the story is divisive. It's not well loved by everybody, judging from emails that we've gotten on the show about it. So
sure,
made me curious as to how that would go. But we don't have to worry about it for now. Allegedly. I don't know.
Yeah.
This week, Matt, we are still continuing our journey through Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. We are reading chapters 10 and 11 this week. We're going to discuss them. We're going to check out the Muggle poll that's associated with said reading required for this week. We have bunch of emails, I suspect. But first and foremost, Matt.
Yes.
We need to give an awesome prize away to one lucky, fantastic, beautiful winner.
I think we can do that.
What are we giving away this week, Matt?
This week, as we're actually kind of continue with the Slytherin theme, we are giving away the Slytherin pen. It's P-E-N.
Right. For all you Slytherin sympathizers out there, this will be a cool giveaway, I'm sure. I believe I asked the people to write in an email, talesfromgodricshollow@gmail.com, saying what their, based on a suggestion of a wonderful listener in an email last week, what smells or scents would be found in their own personal love potion.
Yeah.
Did we get some responses to that, Matt?
We did.
Did anybody surprise you with their smells? Because last week you were kind of thrown off by the WD-40 smell.
Yeah, I like after that, like the way you explained it and the way some of the people explained them in here, like there were some, I guess, similar smells like that fall in that same category,
right.
But the explanation for it is kind of the same. So
nothing like rotten flobberworms or anything like that showed up.
No. I mean,
that you would seriously question their olfactory on that one.
Yeah, like motorcycle exhaust.
Okay.
More like that.
Okay.
Not like rotten, decaying stuff.
Sure. Skunk spray.
Maybe if someone you knew worked in a mortuary, I don't know.
I'm still. I would understand it, but I would still be a little creeped out by formaldehyde.
Sure.
It's a little Dexter-ish to me, Good. Well, I'm glad we got some responses. What's my range of numbers that I am supposed to select from?
This week we're going 1 through 11.
1 through 11, huh?
Yep.
I have an easy solution to this.
Okay.
We actually had some numbers play a part in these chapters this week.
Okay.
I am thinking of the number 5, as in the number of saves that Ron Weasley got in his tryout for the Gryffindor Quidditch team.
All right.
How about that?
We can do that. Just double checking my winner list here, but it looks like we're clear.
I mean, when I say 5, I'm not necessarily meaning 5 clean, up and up type of saves. Like, just 5 in general.
It's true.
Yeah.
Our winner this week is Laurel.
Laurel. Congratulations, Laurel.
Proud Slytherin.
Mm-hmm. Well, can't win them all. What smells are associated with our friend Laurel's love potion?
She starts off and says, I love this question. It's actually my go-to Potter question when meeting other fans. Which I can see that.
Huh, okay.
Yeah. My love potion scents are the bread aisle of any grocery store.
Okay.
Lemon zest.
Okay.
And that new book smell, especially illustrated kids' books.
Huh.
Yeah. I'm not sure. I haven't been around too many brand new illustrated kids' books recently. So I'm not sure what exactly that smells like. Maybe it's more ink or the colored ink or something that
like the glossy picture.
Yeah, it gives it a different smell.
Because I have a very distinctive flavor in my mind as to like what a new book smell would be like.
But that's usually going to be, just your black ink on paper and you're flipping through it.
I'm going to have to browse through a book
section. I need to go to a bookstore now.
Yeah.
Start smelling the books.
Yeah, that's not weird at all. Well, thank you, Laurel. Appreciate the response. And also, I really appreciate that that question is used as like a Harry Potter fan icebreaker type of thing.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I like that. Congratulations. Hope you enjoy your Slytherin pin. If you want to just toss it in a river or something like that, that's cool. No biggie. Do what you want to do with it, Stick around for the end of the show. We got another cool giveaway. I promise this one's really cool. Matt was telling me about it before we started the show, and I might have went down a little bit of a rabbit hole that I had to be pulled out of before we almost didn't do a show tonight. So stay tuned for that. It'll be a lot of fun. Matt?
Yes.
Let's just go ahead and get down to it and start off with Chapter 10 of Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince.
Okay. Chapter 10, The House of Gaunt.
Very intriguing chapter title.
Yeah. We do, of course, as you might expect, have quite a few new characters, actually.
I was surprised.
Humphrey Belcher. Do you recall that one?
No.
I know you made a note about why he was mentioned, but I don't think you might have skipped over the name.
He's the one that tried to invent the cheese cauldron?
There you go.
Okay, yeah. I heard his name, I'm like,
yep.
Nah, that's not the important thing on this one.
Cheese cauldrons, yes. We also had Bob Ogden, who is kind of the focal point, almost.
Yep.
Then we have a boatload of Gaunts here.
Yeah.
So Morphin was Gaunt. Mr. Gaunt, who we found out later was Marvolo.
Spoiler.
Yep.
Oh.
And then the female here, the other Gaunt that it's one of those names.
I'm waiting for this.
Yeah.
I need to know. Val was going back and forth on it, and I was like, I feel like it's one thing, but I can't wait to hear what Matt says.
You see, like I always oversimplify things, and I'm sure it has more of a foreign root, and so my American brain always says Merope.
Oh, okay. We went with Merope.
You see, and that's the thing. It's like I have a feeling it probably is more like Merope or something like that.
Yeah.
But when I read it in my head, it's always Merope.
Okay. Yeah, that's how she described it as being, spelled out.
Sure.
But she was like, it sounds like it should be Merope.
Yeah, that sounds more, feminine.
More like a name.
Yes, a little more flowery.
Yeah.
Like it, but I mean, the way the chapter is too, the way that it's all dark and drab, and she's all gray, and it's like, Merope, sure.
Merope sounds like a house elf. Merope, could be anybody.
That was kind of her role.
Yeah.
If you think about it, what she was doing, she was cooking and cleaning.
I don't know. Someone's going to correct us either way. So
yeah,
I was very curious to see where you landed with it, though.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, it's one of those. Honestly, like I don't really say out loud ever.
Yeah.
So it's just in my head when I'm reading it on a page. It's like Merope. Okay.
Right.
And then there was a brief mention of Cecilia. If you even caught that one either.
No.
She was the girl that was hanging out with Tom Earl Sr. as they were passing by the shack.
Yeah, they got the burns on her face. Right?
No, I believe that was Riddle.
Did he get burns on his face?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I thought it was the girl.
No, I think Morphin attacked Riddle.
Maybe you're right.
I could be wrong, but
I've
been wrong before. But yeah.
Okay.
One of them.
There was definitely a girl with him.
Yes.
Ancillary character. Nothing to see here, folks. Okay. Interesting chapter, Matt.
I should hope so.
I will say that I wasn't expecting it.
Yeah.
And I feel like I liked this chapter in a way that everybody wanted me to like the first two chapters of this book.
Exactly. Yes. Like, okay, sure, Harry was here for this chapter. Harry was viewing this chapter.
Yeah.
But really, it wasn't from his perspective. It was from Bob Ogden's perspective. It was Bob Ogden's memory.
Yeah.
Like, it's one of those things that, I mean, well, as Dumbledore, I mean, we can get into this a little more if you want, but he made note of, we're leaving fact and moving on to memories and guesswork.
Yes.
And I love that line because, like, he ever so subtly indicates that the memories aren't fact.
Right.
Like, memories are... I don't know if you've ever seen those experiments with eyewitness accounts and how eyewitnesses are so unreliable.
Yeah. Different points of view, different biases, different everything.
And that could be like right after the incident happens, an eyewitness account can already be wrong. Mm-hmm. And so that's essentially what memories are. It's you trying to recall what you witnessed.
Right.
And I mean,
dumb brain.
The farther away it gets from when it happened, like, it's only going to get worse.
Yeah. Your dumb brain tries to fill in certain blanks or certain things that you didn't see or you didn't catch, or you heard a noise but you saw something, and then you try to push the two together to make sense of it, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that's right, And so, like, that's what I find interesting about this chapter is, like, the whole thing is someone's memory. Mm-hmm. And so that's how Bob Ogden, when he handed over this memory to Dumbledore, that's how he last thought it happened. Yeah.
But who's to say that, like, any of that happened?
Right.
Like, that's just how he's remembering it.
Right. Yeah. So I have a few theories as to why I liked this chapter and the other ones at the beginning of the book didn't do it for me.
Yeah. I would love to hear those.
And I don't think it has anything to do with the fact that Harry was there.
Okay.
Because, like you said, he was just there. He was just a spectator to the whole thing.
I mean, that was just kind of one of the... Maybe it was just a theory back then, too, as to why you didn't like the first few chapters, is like they weren't from Harry's point of view. That's what made them different.
Maybe. I lean towards the fact that we got into this because of Dumbledore.
Okay.
Dumbledore's like, we need to go investigate something. Let's go. And I'm just like all in with what Dumbledore is up to these days.
Sure.
You know? So like I was intrigued to kind of follow along with the mindset of Dumbledore, because we don't get that a lot. We see him come in, do his thing, and then vanish, you know? But like this is a rare opportunity for us to see how he processes things and how he comes to conclusions that he does.
Yeah, like Harry mentioned, he said he's going to tell him everything from now on.
Yeah. So I think that was a large part of it. But I think that also factored into the fact that I was interested to see where this went. You know, like I wanted to see why this memory was important. And I felt pretty strongly that by the end of the chapter, we would have a reason for this memory to even exist in this book.
Sure.
Whereas in the first two chapters of the book, like other than setting up, you know, Snape and Bellatrix and, you know, whatever Malfoy is up to, like other than that, like especially the first chapter, there isn't a clear finish line for that story thread.
Yeah, I can see that. Like you said, the first couple chapters of any book are just set up for what's going to happen in the rest of the book.
Right.
It's not going to resolve anything immediately. Whereas we're getting towards the middle of the book where usually when we get that chapter title, it's like that chapter title is going to come to fruition within the chapter and it's going to make a point. Mm-hmm. The one exception was probably last week with the Half-Blood Prince.
Right.
When it's like, okay, it seems a bit early for this chapter title. You're going to once again be introducing us to something and not resolving it completely.
But I at least was prepared for the introduction of that mystery. Mm-hmm. Whereas the beginning of this book, like with the prime ministers and all that stuff,
sure,
it didn't leave me... Oh, okay, so the beginning of the previous book. That one.
Come on.
Boy. Goblet of Fire, Prisoner of Azkaban. Wow. It is gone. It is out. Order of the Phoenix. That's the one that started off with the Dementors, right?
Yes.
Attack. I had basis... Like, I knew we weren't going to, like, resolve where those Dementors came from and who sent them and why they're attacking Harry and the Muggle world and all that stuff. Like, I knew that wasn't going to get resolved at the end of the first or second chapter. But I at least had a reference point for why those would be important and where that could possibly go. Whereas, like, the two prime ministers talking in their office for an entire chapter, that could go a million different places, and none of it I can associate with any story currently that's being told in this series. So it was just, I don't know. That's I've thought about it a lot, why I like this chapter more than those first two, and that's the only thing I could come up with. I don't think Harry being involved really has anything to do with it.
Fair enough.
I really lean strongly on the I'm following Dumbledore here.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm just glad that you enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because this is probably one of the closest things we get to like an origin story, and I am a sucker for origin stories. Mm-hmm. Like, especially when it comes to characters like you get into like Spider-Man's origin story, you give me X-Men origin stories.
Right.
Like, I love those things.
Yeah.
And so now we're going back in time and kind of seeing like, I guess this is like set pretty close to like Voldemort's origin story, almost. I mean, he's not quite there, but it's his parents. Okay.
Sure. Let me say this. If this chapter was at the beginning of the book, and we stripped away the fact that Harry and Dumbledore are in this memory, and we're just getting...
Sure, if it just played out as...
Bob Ogden is looking for this, and everything goes from there.
Yeah.
I would have been bored with it up until the big reveal, and then I'd say, oh, that's interesting. I'm going to pocket that because we're going to revisit that much later in the book. Mm-hmm. So the fact that this is in the middle of the book, and it does have Dumbledore and Harry, and there is a reason, a very direct reason for us to be seeing it that's presented before we get to it, I liked it.
All right.
And I wasn't bored with it. But there was it was very wordy and descriptive.
Oh, yeah.
Which has the tendency to sometimes lose me.
And that's kind of what I was worried about. Because I knew it was definitely more descriptive, and there was a lot of just back and forth conversation, and you know, Gaunt yelling at his kids to be quiet or go back in the house or whatever the case may be. And it's like, yeah, okay, I can see that being boring, but big picture here, like things are going down. There's still details in that story that need to be there.
I honestly thought that, like, JK's description of the scenery and the landscape and the path that went to this house and the town and, like, everything was just so beautiful and so perfectly written that I was, like, seeing this play out in my head in front of me. Mm-hmm. And that was really cool to have that experience of, like, you know, just up the road, and then it like goes downhill, and he's, you know, kind of, you know, unintentionally jogging a little bit because he's like getting pulled forward by, you know, gravity, and it's like it was just I saw the scene play out, and that was like bravo, like it was so perfectly well written.
Yeah, the way she starts to describe it, it's just like this the beginning of a fairy tale.
Yeah, like
you can see this playing out in a Disney movie. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden, you know, there's this like dark little thicket off to the side, and it's like, wait, why are you going in there? Like, there's this bright, beautiful city up ahead.
I need this kind of detailed description for like the lake and what the squid's up to. You know, like that's what I'm missing. So yeah, like this was a journey. We went on a journey here. I mean, along with Dumbledore and Harry, obviously. It was refreshing to have Parseltongue back in the conversation. Mm-hmm. It's been a while since we addressed that whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, obviously played a big role in the second book.
Yeah,
Chamber of Secrets.
Right,
when we had snakes all over the place, or one giant snake, really. But yeah, hasn't really come back because, I mean, really, if there aren't snakes around for Harry to talk to, like we have Voldemort that we know that speaks it,
right? But
who else?
Yeah, I mean, I brought it up when we had the whole Nagini, dream vision thing going on. Mm-hmm. Like, was he able to understand and know what was going on because he was partial? Like, that thing wasn't ever really fully explained, I don't think. But like, other than that, like, it's been very short on references to that gift that he has, and I like that it's back now.
Yeah.
Because, like you said, it was a big part of, like, book 2, but that couldn't have been just it, Like, there was more to that than...
There's a reason she introduced it back then.
Yeah, it was more than just to open a door,
Yeah. So, my biggest thing here, like, Dumbledore, I mean, like, the whole school kind of knew by the end of book 2 that he could speak it.
Right.
Like, he did it in front of basically most of the school during the dueling club that once.
Yeah.
Like, they heard him speak it. So, it's not a surprise that, like, Dumbledore knew about it, of course, because, once again, he knows everything. Mm-hmm. But when he asked Harry, he's like, did you understand that, or do you understand what's going on here?
Yeah.
And, like, he finally realized that, oh, it's the Parseltongue. That's why, Ogden can't understand it.
Right.
What's your thought or feeling on Dumbledore?
That's what I was confused about. Like,
yeah,
could Dumbledore hear him? Could he understand what was going on? Or is Dumbledore maybe using Harry a little bit? Like, knowing
Harry,
that Harry
can
knows.
you translate for me?
I need an interpreter on this memory. And you're just the kid I need. I wish I knew with Dumbledore, Like,
yeah.
He's so mysterious. He knows things that we'll never know that he knows.
I mean, I think Dumbledore is wise enough to understand basically what was going on just from watching people's reactions. It's like,
yes,
but we never see him ask Harry directly, like, what did he just say?
Right.
Which makes you wonder, like.
Right.
If it was that important to him, wouldn't he ask for a translation if he couldn't understand it?
Or maybe he realized that whatever was said wasn't super important, because then Harry would have said, "Oh, do you want me to translate this for you?" Or like, "Do you need to know what's going?" Like, they have like this unspoken word between the two of them that just drives me crazy.
Yeah, I like the first instance when it happened, like outside, and he was just giving him a warning, like stay away or whatever. Like that's not such a big deal. But when we're in the house and there's full conversations going on between the Gaunts, speaking in Parseltongue, and it's mentioned that Ogden just hears this weird hissing, and it's like you would think that would be the time, like there could possibly be some secrets floating around. It's like, do you think he knows about this? Is he here to investigate this? It's like, make sure you go hide the secret treasure we have.
Right.
Like, like that section there more than the first one makes me wonder, like, can he actually understand it?
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. I feel like he might be able to.
I mean,
I don't know if he can talk it. Like, can you understand Parseltongue without speaking it?
It's a big question. Yeah. Like it's they say it's. I mean, we know very little about it. Like, it's a very rare gift, and like Slytherin was like the only one who is really known for it, and now we see the Gaunts. I mean, don't know exactly. I mean, you can guess, seeing as like Marvolo was Riddle's, Voldemort's grandfather.
Right.
So you can kind of judge age by that, how long ago this might have been. But other than that, like, they were saying they are the last of the descendants of Slytherin. So like, where would have gone after that? Like, obviously hit Voldemort yet.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
Does Voldemort have kids?
I hope not. But it's possible. But I hope not. Oh, man, don't make me think about that kind of stuff. Is there a little Voldy out there running around?
We all had questions at one point.
Boy, I'm not even going to go down that thought train. Yeah, parcel tongue. Interesting. Very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate that, like, Harry forgot that he had that ability. You know?
Yeah. Like I said, there's just no one around to use it with. Like, he could speak it all he wants, and, like, he's just going to be hissing at people. And probably just scare them off. Like, are you possessed, Harry?
Yeah.
What's going on? Like, he can't have a conversation with anybody. Because, like I said, the only people we know, other than, snakes in general, is Voldemort.
Right.
That's currently alive that can speak it.
Yeah. I don't know. It'd be weird to have, like, a special gift like that and not ever think about the fact that you have it.
Like, kind of like the worst superpower ever, because it doesn't actually have a use.
Or you just, like, use it accidentally and don't even realize you're using it,
I did like, though, throughout this experience, as Harry got to hear more and more of it, that he could differentiate between the parcel tongue and not.
Yeah.
Like, he originally just innately could understand it, and he basically heard it as English.
Right.
So he didn't even notice it was a different language. Just kind of like how he speaks it. And then he starts to think about it, and he can differentiate, and he can kind of... I liked how he could actually, like, hear both at the same time.
Yeah. Hear, like, faint hissing while understanding the words. And
yeah.
But that's because it was pointed out to him that that's what he was hearing. Like,
sure,
he hasn't honed that ability to, like, just know that he's hearing it.
I think going forward, that'll come a little bit more naturally.
Maybe. Hopefully. I don't know.
I mean, who's to say he's going to once... Like, Voldemort, on the other hand... Well, okay, Voldemort at least has a pet snake. So, like, he has someone to talk to, some reason to use it. But other than that, yeah, it's like, who's Harry going to run into?
Right. I don't know, man. We'll see. Maybe he'll never have to use it again. It's possible.
It's possible.
I doubt it. So yeah, it's kind of a weird family here. The daughter is a squib. The dad's a jerk. And the son is a rubble rouser. Putting it lightly.
Yeah, I'll give you the last two.
Oh, wait. The daughter wasn't a squib?
No.
Who was a squib?
No one.
Why was squibs brought up?
Marvolo refers to her as the dirty little squib.
But she's really not?
No.
I got lost. Matt, there was... With all the new names and, like, trying to remember that it was a memory and trying to, like, put pieces together as to who they would eventually be, there was this weird roundabout thing going on in my head of, like, who was what.
Sure.
So he initially referred to her as a dirty little squib.
Yeah. Like, he refers to her as a squib, and that's kind of what you get. But I always kind of wonder right off the bat, because what do we know about squibs?
They come from magical families, but they have no magical abilities.
They have no magical abilities.
Yeah.
They can't do any magic.
Which is why I was confused why she was able to do potions.
Well, even before that, like, she's in the kitchen, and she's trying to, pick this pot up off the ground, and she pulls out her wand, and, it doesn't do what she wants, but it sends the pot flying across the room, and it breaks. So she obviously did some sort of magic. It wasn't what she wanted, but she did some sort of magic.
That's true.
Whereas Filch would never be able to do that. And so as we get towards the end of the chapter and Harry's discussing it with Dumbledore when they get back, he does actually mention that, yes, she was a witch, but being so basically abused by her father, the power, it was never developed, and it was actually kind of being suppressed.
Huh. Where have we heard that before, Matt?
Mm-hmm.
Or where have I heard that before? I mean, you've heard it, obviously, already. Yeah, fantastic piece.
Uh-huh.
Very interesting.
But yeah, so, because, yeah, then she did obviously go on to make the love potion and that type of thing that we talk about. So yeah, she was definitely a witch, because if she wasn't, if we had Voldemort with a squib mother and a muggle father,
mm-hmm.
I don't know what the exact rules are on that, but I think it'd be very hard for him to come out magical.
Yeah, but then again, you have kids that are magical that come from two muggle parents.
True.
You know? Which seems even more or less likely.
I guess it's always possible, but it just, I don't know. It'll feel wrong. But like I said, always possible, and that the fact that the witch is still coming from the Slytherin line, then.
Yeah.
I think that would be even more the stranger thing, is to have a squib in the direct line of Slytherin.
Right.
So.
Well, regardless, it was interesting all the way around. The first time I heard the name of Tom,
mm-hmm.
I immediately thought of Tom Riddle, of course.
Yep.
Also,
Tom the bartender.
We did not know how far back this memory was going.
Yeah.
You know?
And at this point, at the first mention of Tom, we didn't have Marvolo yet.
Correct.
Yep.
So I was like, what? That's Tom? Tom Riddle? What's he doing? Like, whoa, this is a crazy, like you said, like an origin story, sort of.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, man, I felt like this was a lot more in the past, based on the description of this town and, like, the horse and carriage and everything like that. So I felt like it was a weird thing to have the Tom Riddle that we know and love to be the Tom that was mentioned. But, English countryside, little towns, like, I don't know what they have, like, going on out there. Like, it's very possible it could have been fit the timeline, but wasn't the Tom Riddle.
Yeah. So I know a lot of people in the emails are going to ask you this, but did you recognize the name of the town?
It was said a couple times.
Yeah.
I thought about typing it in my notes, but I'm like, nah, I'm sick of, wasting time on writing little town names that I'll never revisit again. So no, Matt, it did not stick with me.
Yeah, so Little Hangleton.
Right. It's nothing to me.
Well, it is definitely a name you heard before, because it was chapter 1 of Goblet of Fire. The first line in Goblet of Fire starts out, "The villagers of Little Hangleton still call it the Riddle House."
Oh, okay. Yeah, no. Didn't catch it.
Yeah.
I mean, cool to know now.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, that did not.
So, I mean, if you make that connection, I mean, you could, at that point already, when he sees the sign for Little Hangleton, think,
yeah.
I've heard that before. That was in connection with, the Riddle family. So you might have an idea of where we're going, but, yeah, then you get to, the chapter's titled House of Gaunt, not Riddle, so.
Right. And Gaunt, like, I was racking my brain the entire time, like, up until the reveal of, have we heard this last name before? You know? Like, once, like, the Slytherin name was dropped, I'm like, okay, I know that.
Yeah.
But Gaunt, I don't, like, I'm thinking back to, like, Sirius Black's, like, family tree and all that stuff. I'm like, this is not a last name that I think I've ever heard.
Yeah.
I was like 95% sure on that. But I thought hard, Matt. I thought long and hard whether or not I should remember that name.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, you wouldn't have heard that one before. Yeah. Obviously, you've heard some of the given names, but yeah, not the surname.
So the guy in question ends up being Marvolo.
Yes.
Yeah. Good old Tommy's grandpa.
Yep.
Huh. Interesting. And the guy that was, who I thought was Tom Riddle, was actually Tom Sr.
Yep.
Tommy's father.
Yep.
Who abandoned him.
Yeah. So now you go back to when Voldemort's discussing his name and explaining his name, telling us that he was named after his father and his grandfather.
Yeah.
Which are on opposite sides of the family, actually. So that's kind of interesting that Rope would have considered that, even, after the guy she hoodwinked and her father. And then he tells us that he wanted to get rid of his filthy Muggle father's name, or would never take his filthy Muggle father's name.
Right.
Yeah. Which, we find out is basically a father he never knew.
Right.
Because he ran away before he was born.
Yeah. Little Tommy boy had a very interesting upbringing. Very interesting family tree. So I guess, like, the big reveal in this whole thing was that he was related to Salazar Slytherin.
Yeah.
That's the big thing, right? Like, that's the big connection that we were supposed to make in this chapter.
That's definitely a big thing. Like, he is a direct descendant, and possibly the once
last.
Again, the last living descendant, as the Gaunts were.
Right. Unless he had kids, which now I can't stop thinking about. Thank you for that.
You're welcome. But the other thing that you can pull from this is what Harry noticed right at the end of the chapter.
Oh, the ring.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah. Obviously, that was a big thing, too.
Yeah.
Dumbledore has this family ring from the Gaunts, which he coincidentally got around the same time that he started having this weird hand injury. That is clearly...
You put that together, did you?
Damaging his hand by possibly wearing it. Did he wear this during his fight with Voldy at the Ministry?
I don't know.
I feel like he did. And is this ring... Where did he get the ring from? I need to know. So many questions. See, I didn't really put much thought into the ring last night as we were reading this. I was just like, oh, okay. Ring, hand, bad hand, mystery.
I've always thought, though, like, just the way that Harry notices it. Like, he's on his way out of the office and is, like, sitting there on, like, I'm picturing it basically, like, on a little table just inside the door. And I'm like, like maybe somewhere in my house I might like put my keys or something, right?
Right.
Like you come inside, you set your keys down, and so Dumbledore came in his office, put the ring down, or something like that. But it just seems like, why wouldn't that be like closer to Dumbledore? Why would he just leave that sitting out there? It's like he wanted Harry to see it.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because he knows that Harry's been wondering about the injury. Harry's actually asked him about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is just like, here, let me throw some breadcrumbs out there for you.
Mm-hmm.
Dumbledore is doing to Harry what J.K. is doing to us, the readers. 100%.
Sure.
Also, I think the other big thing was that another mention of a love potion. This is like the third prominent love potion reference in this book so far. Now,
yeah, kind of got introduced in this book, and now, yeah, it keeps getting brought up.
My question was the first two references so that this reference in this memory made sense, and we were just like already conditioned to the fact that love potions exist in some way? Or is this leading to bigger and better things? I don't know. Because if this was like the first reference of a love potion in this memory, I'd be like, yeah, okay, I guess love potions exist, but that's still kind of weird. This is the first time we've ever heard about this, considering all the things they're learning at Hogwarts. So I don't know if the previous mentions in the book were to set up for this memory, or if this is continuing a setup for something more. We'll see.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, the first mention was kind of just a mention. The second mention took a deeper dive into, I guess, kind of what they are, how they're made, or why they're dangerous, and, well, then, like, what they smell like. But, yeah, this third mention, does have a lot of questions around it.
Yeah. Good chapter. Good solid chapter.
Yeah.
A meaty chapter that wasn't long and drawn out.
Sure.
Yeah. Before we get on to the next chapter, Matt, I think it's a good time to check in with this week's Muggle poll.
I think we can do that.
You put that thing up on Twitter. Our Twitter account is at TalesFromGH. And the question for the Muggle poll always has something to do with the reading for the week. And it gives you guys, the audience out there, a chance to interact, to have a say-so in a very important topic of conversation. It's usually a lot more lighthearted than important, but we have fun with it, and Matt comes up with some excellent questions and responses, and it's a good conversation generator. So, Matt, what's this week's Muggle poll?
This week, we wanted to talk a little bit about Parseltongue.
Mm-hmm.
As we already did a little bit, but I want to know, obviously we've kind of discussed, like, Parseltongue is a gift. It seems to be kind of like Tonks's Anamorph Magus ability. Like, it doesn't seem to be something that can be learned or taught, really.
Mm-hmm.
So we want to know if you had the ability to learn it, and so you could speak it, you could translate it, whatever the case may be. First of all, would you take advantage of that opportunity? And if so, how would you use your skills?
Right. What are the options you gave people?
Oh, we said, yes, I would learn it, and I'd use it to scare people, as Harry has done accidentally. Like, he's not trying to, but it just happens. You could say yes, but just to be able to understand other people that are speaking it. You're probably not going to speak it yourself, not going to use it for any devious means or anything. I'll give you a third option of yes, but you're going to use it kind of as secret language, almost like a code, I guess. It's like
Pig Latin.
Yeah. Like you and your best friend learned how to speak it and how to understand it, so you can have these private conversations out in the open.
You ever do that as a kid?
I As a kid, no. In college once, my friend and I not so much made up a language, but we convinced our third friend, our mutual friend, that we had made up a language.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just complete gibberish. But we threw enough inflection into it that we did have her convinced for a little while. Because we would go on and have good, 15, 20-minute conversations in gibberish.
Mm-hmm.
And it was fun. It was fun. We didn't actually say anything. We just inflected enough and responded. And, visual cues. You can... I mean, we're kind of taking advantage of our friend. She was quite gullible, but still. Dumb college kids, right?
Right. Dumb kids in general, Matt.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anyway, did you ever make up a language?
No.
Okay. No. Or any kind of code like that?
No, I don't think so. I don't think I had the attention span for that kind of stuff.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, finally, our fourth option then is just a straight no. If you don't want to learn parsefun.
Sure. All you lamos out there that don't want to have any fun.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. What'd the audience say before we talk about what we would do?
We had a 59% for yes to understand others.
I like it.
I mean, majority, obviously, 3 options to 1. We're going to win out, I think. But 17 on yes to tell secrets, 11 on yes to scare people, but 13% just said no.
Yeah. I voted for the yes to understand others option. However, I needed a caveat with it.
Okay.
How much work do I have to put in to actually learn it? If I could just have it and not put effort into practicing it routinely like Harry, sure, why not? But if it's going to be an additional language for me, especially, it would be the equivalent of, learning Latin. Yeah, you could probably find a use here and there in your lifetime for it, but you're not going to have normal conversations on a regular basis.
Yeah, it's a dead language. You don't speak it.
Yeah,
but and that's the thing. It's I think I would put the effort in to learn it so I could understand it. I wouldn't necessarily even want the ability to speak it, but I would love to understand it.
Yeah.
So if other people are speaking it, I can understand what they're saying.
Right. Yeah.
I don't feel the need to be able to speak it myself, but
yeah. But again, do I have to put work into it? Do I have to, listen to?
In my mind, yes.
Yeah, man.
That's what the question went into. We did have a couple of responses here. Emily kind of asked that, if I could suddenly know it without any effort, sure, why not?
Yeah.
But realistically, I wouldn't. It's too much effort. I'd rather learn dog or cat. I guess you're going to run into a lot more dogs and cats, so it makes sense. More so than snakes.
Parseltongue Rosetta Stone, by chance?
It's a good question.
Do you remember way back in the day, those weird infomercials that would try to sell you as kids to learn another language with that weird monster Ziggy or Iggy and you could learn French and German, and there's a list of different languages you could learn. Oh man.
It's not really ringing a bell.
And they had the cheesiest commercials, but they were always the same, and it was just really, really bad. Oh man. Okay, I'm going to think about this all show. So, if you knew exactly what I was talking about, it would have somebody out there that's listening is just yes, I know exactly what you're talking about. Brent's probably looking at you.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what that is.
Yeah.
Like, if I saw it, I probably ignored it.
Sure.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, Maria wrote in and said I would learn so I could understand them and be less afraid of them. Brent tries to bypass my poll options once again and says, "Can I pick all of the above yeses?" No, you can't. That's the idea of a poll. Trying to make you choose, make a decision. And then Alex must be feeling lonely up there in New York because he says, "I would buy a pet snake so that I could have a friend."
Oh, Alex. He misses Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good news, Matt.
Yeah?
I found exactly what I was thinking about. It's
Did
called
you?
Muzzy. Muzzy. And it was this big green monster that talked to kids, but he talked in different languages. And Muzzy was the one teaching you the different language. And they're like tapes. It was like a set of tapes, VHS tapes, that you would learn. It was like Rosetta Stone before Rosetta Stone.
Sure.
But for kids. Anyway,
Well, yeah,
I
that's
found the
when you're
commercial.
supposed to teach them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I found the commercial. I'll send you the link. You don't need to watch it now. Maybe do it after the show.
I'll watch it later, and I'll definitely post in the show notes for you.
Yeah, but somebody out
Everybody else
there, I guarantee, is just like, yep, I know exactly what that guy's talking about.
I'm sure someone else know. The surprising part is, I'm looking at just a quick search here, but it looks like it's from the BBC.
Yeah.
Which, so yeah, thank you, Britain, once again.
Yep. Also, I just realized that there's a section of our audience, Matt, that has no idea what I just said when I said VHS tapes.
You would be correct, I think.
That's depressing.
Yep.
I am an old man.
Kids, ask your parents. Yeah, and then go ask
some parents
them
out there that may need to ask other parents.
Ask them if they ever got into Betamax. Yeah. For the record, VHS versus Beta was the debate that we had. Just, I mean, in my lifetime at least, maybe not even some of these kids' lifetimes yet, but when we had Blu-ray versus HD DVD, it was that same debate, and it was up to the manufacturers.
Yeah,
like Blu-ray won out when they stuck it in the PlayStation 3.
Yep,
and that's
two.
it. There are
two. No, 2 is just
3.
Yeah,
it was the 3.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, there were millions of Blu-ray players, and HD DVD had no chance. So, anyway, yeah, VHS.
Sorry, all our younger listeners that just fast forwarded through this old man podcast.
Be kind. It's rewind.
Kids that don't even know what rewinding is, Matt.
Uh-huh.
Oh.
Well, you can rewind this podcast. So.
Scrub through it.
Yeah, that's true. Or jump back 15 seconds.
Oh, man.
Yeah, don't try to rewind.
Kids these days have no idea how hard we had it, Matt.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just spend the rest of the podcast talking about how they don't even know. They don't even know what we had to go through.
We can say that for a Butterbeer Banter.
Okay.
The Muggle edition.
Thank you to everybody for responding to the Muggle poll. Always a lot of fun, even if some of you are completely wrong in your answers. Moving on to Chapter 11, Matt. Let's do it.
All right. Chapter 11, Hermione's Helping Hand. We have 4 new characters. Demelza Robbins, Jimmy Peaks, Richie Coote, and Melinda Bobbin.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. The first 3 are new additions to the Gryffindor Quidditch team. Melinda Bobbin was another apparently connected person that Slughorn has now invited to the Slug Club.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting chapter.
Yeah?
I liked it mainly for its brevity.
Okay.
Not gonna lie. Like, not a terribly exciting chapter.
Sure.
Not a terribly interesting chapter. It's always good spending time with Hagrid, which, I appreciate.
Mm-hmm. Had to reconnect with him.
There wasn't a lot of substance in this one.
Yeah, I mean, it was getting back into Quidditch. Harry's new duties this year as captain.
Mm-hmm. It felt like one of those mundane, everyday at Hogwarts type of chapters.
And unfortunately, yeah, it was pretty much outside of class too.
Mm-hmm.
Like it
Hogwarts on a weekend chapter.
I was gonna say more like a weekend.
Yeah.
And you've always wondered what goes on the weekends.
Yeah. Sometimes these chapters drag on a little bit too much.
Yeah.
And this one was dangerously close to that, but by the time it wrapped up, I'm like, okay, cool. That's the right amount of nothingness that I needed in my life right now.
This book actually got edited.
Yeah, very well. Like, by the end of this chapter, I was like, man, it'd be cool to read another chapter. Whereas other times, it's just like, oh, it's over. Finally, thank you, So, yes, I enjoyed it for its brevity and for its ability to make mundane not completely boring.
Sure.
Yeah. Chapter of the title, though, completely misleading.
Title of the chapter, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but like you said, could you give me a better title for this chapter?
A Weekend at Hogwarts.
Exactly. You have to get super generic. Like, typically we like to find like the main event or something to look forward to, what happens at the end of the chapter, what we're leading up to, but there wasn't really that one big thing. Like, Stan Shunpike's secret. I would have been just about as good a title.
Rotten flobberworms.
Yeah, the very end of the chapter.
Giant maggots. Or, not maggots, what were they? Grubs.
Yeah.
Fantastic beasts. Or
but there weren't really
not so fantastic beasts.
Yeah.
Mediocre beasts. There was just so much little stuff that happens that, naming this chapter, she probably went through like 12 different titles before she landed on this one.
I can see it, yeah. And this one is alliterative, which is always a win.
Yep.
And it's kind of a big event, and it definitely one that makes you scratch your head a little bit. It's like, did she really just do that?
Yeah. I really wanted it to revisit Spew.
Yeah?
Yeah. That's where I was hoping the chapter was going to go.
Sure.
Yeah.
Haven't been there in a while.
Yeah. Didn't go that way.
No.
It was clear from the start we weren't going that way.
I don't think there was even a mention of a house elf in this chapter.
No. But for some reason, Hermione and Helping Hand, those two things combined made me think of house elf. And
yeah, I can
Hermione
see that.
possibly turning a corner on using house elves to her advantage. I was like, maybe she's going to get Dobby to help her out with her studies or running errands or something. Nah. No house elves for Josh.
Or creature, for that matter.
No, Matt, no. Get out of here. Never want to see Creature again.
He's around there somewhere.
I know. Thanks for reminding me, Matt.
You're welcome.
Now I have to think of Tommy the Third and Creature running around.
Mm-hmm.
Goodness. Quidditch tryouts.
Yeah.
A bunch of new players, like you said, new kids that we have never met before that sound like they'll be fine, I guess, for the team. I don't, it's
no Hufflepuffs though.
No, yeah.
Get out of here.
And the Ravenclaw. Come on now. There's a couple of Ravenclaws
like two
out
of
there.
them. Yeah.
Can we just appreciate there's an entire group of Hufflepuffs?
There's a whole gaggle of Hufflepuffs.
Let's see if we can do that, Good old Hufflepuffs. They're just the jokesters of the castle, aren't they? So funny. Ginny Weasley is she's not a seeker anymore.
Correct. Harry's taking his job back, as far as we know.
Yeah. I feel like that's probably a good move. What's her job?
Come on. Can you name the other positions?
A beater.
Yep.
Keeper.
Yep. And you
Seeker.
really can't come up with the last one.
Scorer? No.
I mean, that's what they do.
Yeah.
But
nope.
Chaser.
Yeah, that doesn't sound right. No.
Well, yes, Ginny is one of the 3 chasers.
Yes. I feel she'll do a good job at that. She's very adapted to being on a broom, and
yeah. I mean, obviously we know she knows how to play. Not only because, like I said, practice with her brothers all the time, but she did play as Seeker, which is cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, now she can still make the team in another position, which is awesome.
Yeah, I feel like if you could successfully be a Seeker, then you could probably do most other things at Quidditch. I feel like the Seeker is the hardest job.
I mean, I think if you can be a Seeker, I think you could probably be a shoo-in as a Chaser pretty well.
Yeah.
It's a lot of flying around. I think the other 2 positions are a little more specialized, though, kind of like the Seeker was.
Yeah,
because the Bludger, you need not only need to be able to fly around one-handed all the time because you got your bat, but you need to be able to use that bat. So you got to be able to hit something while flying, and hopefully hit it hard enough and in the right direction. Playing defensively is easy enough, I guess, but to hit the Bludger where you want it to go and actually have an effect against the other team, it's a whole nother ballgame, I think.
That's true.
And then Keeper, I mean, yeah, it's not an easy job. No one wants to be a keeper.
No.
I wouldn't want to be a keeper.
I guess I just meant it in the fact of if you're skilled enough to be a Seeker, like on a broom, that you could probably make the Quidditch team as one of the other positions. Just
yeah, I mean, unless you have like the all-star Quidditch team,
yeah.
At this level, I guess, yeah, you could probably make it.
Also, we know Ginny's pretty good, just in general. You know?
Yeah.
So I'm not surprised.
That's what you were saying the whole time. It's like when we were talking about like Quidditch commentators, it's like, no, Ginny's going to be playing. Yeah. She's too good. She's going to play.
Yeah, so there was a kid, I'm sure you'll remind me of his name, that tried out for Keeper.
Yeah, Cormac McLagan.
Yep. Sounds like he's pretty good. Not the best. Our boy Ron is clearly the better Keeper.
Is he?
No arguments at all, Matt. Look, it got complicated, right? And this is where the title chapter of the title title of the chapter. Man, my brain just like spritzed out there real quick.
Hermione's been messing with it.
Yeah, this is where this comes from.
Been walking into too many door frames recently.
Yeah, it's alleged by some people that it's possible that Hermione might have had something to do with Ron winning his spot on the team.
Well, you see, from what I can tell, at least, she admitted to messing with McLagan.
Yeah.
But
she didn't cop to helping Ron.
No.
Directly.
Exactly. So it seems like Ron may have actually been kind of on par with McLaggen. And McLaggen's probably the more stereotypical keeper type. Like, I think he's drawn out to be a little bit bigger than Ron, probably.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so, if you're looking at them, and if they had the same performance, which one are you going to pick? And not try to seem like, oh, I'm picking my friends. Like, you might have to go in that direction. But Hermione kind of gave him an out and said, yeah, there you go. You missed one.
And Ron we trust. Matt.
Yeah.
I feel like Ron is the best man for the job.
Weasley is our king.
Weasley is our king. Look, I'm not going to lie. I am very worried that this decision will come back to hurt Harry in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
He's now made an enemy with somebody. And, he did something that was advised against, which was just giving Ron his spot back.
Mm-hmm.
Harry's going to look out for his friends, first and foremost. Those are the most important people to him. And I don't blame him for doing that. I just worry that this is some foreshadowing of bad things to come in some way, shape, or form.
All right.
Yeah. This isn't the last we hear of old McCormick Johnson, whatever his name is.
McCormick Johnson, I like it.
Yeah. So Quidditch is back. Ooh, ta-da. Hagrid. Let's talk about Hagrid real quick.
Sure.
The trio. They went down to see Hagrid, and Hagrid's trying to play it up as if he's mad at him.
Yep.
And come on. We all know that big old lovable half-giant is not going to stay mad at the kids longer than a few seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Once he talks to them and sees them in person, and he has them in his house, he's going to warm up.
That's why he doesn't want to let them in.
Yeah, because he knows that he's a sucker, and he's
like
done
he
for.
puts up a pretty good front, but
so they kind of convince him that they just don't have the time to take his classes, which I feel is a little dishonest.
Not entirely, though. Like, they were just talking about how all their free time is filled up.
Yeah.
With the classes that they do have.
But they didn't know that when they picked classes.
Not so much, no.
Yeah.
Like, Ron was all excited to have free periods. And,
right.
And Hermione's like, no, you're going to need those.
Yeah. So, whatever. I get it. They're trying to make everything better with Hagrid, and little white lies here and there don't hurt necessarily if it makes people feel better. The time turner situation being brought up, I think, is interesting.
Yeah?
I just feel like at this point in the game, if time turners weren't important to the story anymore, that whole little back and forth that they had about the time turners wouldn't have even happened.
You don't think it's just JK trying to tie up a loose end and say, hey, these are gone. Forget about it. We're not using these anymore.
Nope. Because all that's telling me is that, are they all gone? All of them? Every single one is smashed and destroyed? Every time turner is no more? Well, there's not a single time turner available at all.
As far as we knew, the Ministry had control. Like, they're regulated by the Ministry. And that's where McGonagall had to go to get one for Hermione in the first place.
I'm just saying, Matt, that by trying to convince us that every time turner is broken and destroyed and never to be used again, that we are absolutely 100% using a time turner at some point in the story going forward.
All right.
and they will be used for a very important reason.
I should hope so.
Not just to take a class with Hagrid or anything like that. Aragog.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of forgot that stupid old big giant nasty murderous spider existed.
As most of us probably did, yeah.
Uh-huh. I felt good about that. And then he was just brought up. And it made me think about how much I hate giant nasty spiders all over again. That's not cool.
Yeah.
Apparently this one's dying. Hagrid feels all bad. He's trying to take care of him and feed him and whatever.
At least was.
Was, yeah. Wait, is he dead?
No, but like you said, the colony is starting to act up now that Aragog's dying.
Yeah.
Like, he's not sure even he should go back there anymore.
Right.
So
that's just what we need, is a colony of angry, mournful
giant spiders.
I just, we were good. We were good with the spider talk. We had moved past that. We didn't need to reintroduce the giant spiders back into the story. I don't feel like that's important at all.
So time turners, definitely important.
Definitely.
Giant spiders,
nope.
Not at all.
Nope.
Brought up in the same chapter, almost in the same sentence, and all right.
Sidebar map. So. There is a giant spider living in our garage.
Okay.
He is staying on the ceiling, and our garage ceiling is quite high.
Yeah.
When I say large spider, leg to leg, like from one tip of the leg to the other tip of the leg, when he's sitting there, so his legs are all bent and whatnot.
Yep.
It's probably good 4 to 5 inches.
That thing would have been dead 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, except I can't get close enough to it. And I'm not going to try to stand on a ladder to try to kill this giant possible tarantula thing that's living in our garage.
You get some of that, that spray stuff in an aerosol can, like the stuff same stuff you use for like a wasp or some wasp nest.
Yeah.
That shoots out like 10, 20 feet. Yeah. Get some of that.
Here's the thing. If he gets upset and he falls.
Well, yeah, you're not standing right under him. You're standing at an angle.
Yeah, but Valerie's eBay workroom is the garage.
Well, that's problematic.
That's my point. And if I can't see him die with my own eyes or my ears by him being squished, then I will never step foot in that garage again because I won't know where he is. So as long as he stays on the ceiling, I could see him and I could think about burning the whole house down, but I can still go into the garage knowing where he is. As horrible as it is.
Now I gotta construct some kind of almost like a clean room type of thing going on. Giant plastic sheets, create a cube, and raise it up to the ceiling, and then spray him.
Yeah.
So he's trapped within this cube. Like, you know he's there.
I am borderline flamethrower at this point.
You see, like, that was my first instinct too, but you said garage, and I know there's going to be too much wood in there.
Not wood, no. It's all concrete.
Even in the rafters, the ceiling?
There's no rafters.
What kind of garage do you have? What's holding up the roof?
Well, I guess there's like drywall
Is it all
up
steel?
there. Because it's the second story is above the garage.
Okay.
Yeah. So I guess there's drywall and like beams and stuff, so.
Yeah, drywall's going to burn.
But then, that's the boys' bedroom right above it. And I've also seen arachnophobia one too many times, and giant flaming spiders are far worse than just giant spiders.
Uh-huh.
So we have a problem with that.
Yeah.
My whole point in this whole thing, Matt, is I'm dealing with a real-life Aragog, and I don't need to be reading about one at the same time.
Sure.
I use Harry Potter for an escape, not as a reminder of the nightmares and horrors that I'm facing in my own real world.
Well, there you go. We're going to have to ask the audience for their best pest control solutions.
Short of burning down the house, because, look,
Well, yeah.
it's top of the list as far as suggestions are concerned. But I don't really want to go that way if I don't have to. Where is this going to go? I don't know, Matt. I'm not excited to revisit this creature. All the other creatures, bring them on, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Giant spiders, we had enough of them. You know, we really did. So I'll see. How will this play into the rest of the story going forward? I have no idea. But I'm sure it'll do something. And then at the end, we found out that Sluggy, as Harry also calls him, pleasantly surprised by that.
I saw that in your notes, and I don't think that's quite accurate.
What?
It was a confusing paragraph, but I believe that's how McLaughlin was referring to him.
Somebody refers to him as Sluggy.
Yes.
Okay. Which I appreciate.
Yes.
He's trying to get Harry out of the detention with Snape. Fat chance! Snape gets his detention no matter what.
Yeah.
I'm sure that'll be the next chapter. It'll be interesting. So, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
We will indeed.
That's it, Matt. That was it. That's all I got.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did I miss anything exciting or worth talking about?
I think you hit all the main points.
Cool.
Yeah.
Let's do some emails, shall we?
All right, we can do that.
Awesome.
First email this week comes from Vanessa.
Hey, Vanessa.
Just a short one to clarify. She was. This was actually back when the giveaway for Where Would You Apparate?
Yes.
And she actually won.
Okay.
And she just, said Wizarding World of Harry Potter. And so we were wondering, well, which one?
Florida or California. Uh-huh.
Yeah. So she says Florida for sure, which can surely find a way to make the weather bearable. But then we were also talking about, well, would that be wrong to just apparate inside and not pay? Just if one chooses to pay for the admission fee, you could just apparate straight to the ticket booth.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that'll get you close enough, and from there on. But my Slytherin side may or may not pay depending on my mood. So,
fair enough. I appreciate the honesty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honesty from a Slytherin. There you go.
I know that's kind of a oxymoron, but whatever.
Yeah. Next email then comes from Edgar.
Hello, Edgar.
It says, Dear Professor Muggle, what are Josh's thoughts on cheese cauldrons?
I feel like I need that in my life. I imagine them...
You also think they're a good idea?
Sure. It's like a inside-out fondue.
That's the thing, though. It's if you add any heat to it, I mean, it's going to be gone. So what good is it going to do you?
Is there anything wrong with melted cheese, Matt?
Not really.
Okay, exactly.
Yeah. He must have moved to Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Must have. Let's see. He says Mr. Gaunt is not a very nice guy. Isn't it cute how Ron is calling out to Hermione for attention?
Yeah.
You catch that there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know a few other people mention it too, but my favorite line in there is like, "I'm tall."
Yeah.
Yes, you are, Ron, but that's
Ron.
yeah. Just the way it's written, how he interjects there, it's so good.
Yeah.
And Stan, a Death Eater? That's outrageous as Josh being one. Oh, wait.
We forgot to talk about Stan. Stan from the night bus. Oh, how we miss the night bus. I always thought there was something creepy with that kid, so it doesn't surprise me. Yeah.
So you think he's actually a Death Eater?
Yeah, sure, why not? I don't know. He's young and impressionable. Who knows?
Like I said, I think he's only like 21, so yeah. He's just a kid.
Yeah. Death Eater in training, maybe.
And finally, what does Josh think of Cormac McLaughlin?
Yeah, bully.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Typical jock. Or stereotypical jock, at
Pretty
least.
much, yeah.
Yeah. I can see that. Next email comes in from Anya.
Hello, Anya.
Says, hey guys, happy birthday, Josh.
Thank you.
And happy Thanksgiving to you guys over there in the U.S. To answer your question from 2 weeks ago, I believe my Patronus to be a lynx.
Cool.
I always thought of that as my spirit animal. Pottermore, on the other hand, gave me some kind of dog.
Again, there's so many different dogs and cats that you could be.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
There are way more animals in the world. Why? Anyway.
She said, I just have to mention that Felix means lucky, which, I think we were kind of talking about the liquid luck last week.
Mm-hmm.
Felix, and yes, Felix is Latin for luck or lucky. And I believe the second word, the felicis or whatever, basically has the same root as Felix. And so it's basically like lucky luck or something like that.
Gotcha.
It's weird. I mean, obviously JK made up the potion name, but as she always does, she bases it off of some other language. So yeah, it's just luck potion, liquid luck. That's a great way to refer to it. So over to the chapters. I love chapter 10. What do you think about Trelawney's cards? I didn't even bring her up. You remember hearing about her?
What? Trelawney wasn't in these chapters.
Yes, she was. Harry was headed to Dumbledore's office, and he encountered Trelawney along the way.
I totally blanked that out.
Yeah, so Trelawney was playing with what looked like a deck of cards.
The little...
It's like 2 of spades, conflict, she murmured as she passed the place where Harry crouched. 7 of spades, an ill omen. 10 of spades, violence. Knave of spades, a dark young man possibly troubled, one who dislikes the questioner.
Yeah. She's a wacko. Whatever. When she needs to be thought about, she'll be thought about, and I'll talk about her then.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm sure it'll come back up. Like, there's a reason for her being there. Blah, 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 blah. But I'm not going to stress too much about what that means now.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Says the Gaunts are super crazy, it seems, and that kind of makes sense when we get to know that they're Voldemort's family. I really love getting the backstory on Voldemort and where he came from. Did you get who they were before it was revealed?
No, not quite. Yeah, not quite. The reveal was a surprise to me, so yeah.
Awesome. Did Harry choose the right people for his Quidditch team?
We'll see. The only question is Ron.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I guess like most of the team was just introduced to us. Like, we don't have any information. Yeah. Ginny and Ron were really... Well, and Katie Bell, who has been on the team for years now, too. So, yeah, no question there, really.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that they got to talk things out with Hagrid, and now they're back to normal. I really felt bad for Hagrid, thinking that they didn't miss him.
Yeah.
Next email from Deborah.
Hi, Deborah.
So, dear Matt and Josh, I hope you both had a wonderful Thanksgiving holiday, and happy belated birthday to Josh.
Thank you.
Had a great episode. I really enjoyed listening to it while we were cooking our turkey feast and during cleanup. She wants to get you're mulling over the meaning of Felix, blah, blah, blah. I'm no Latin expert, but I believe it means something like happy luck or lucky luck, with the roots being related to our word felicity. No one suggested Ron for the new Quidditch commentator. I thought he'd be a good choice. Although, of course, like Ginny, he prefers to play.
Yeah.
So
he'd be too emotional, like in like kind of a whiny, bratty type of way. Like, yeah, I couldn't trust him doing it.
She says Seamus, though, could be another fun option.
Maybe, I don't know. I don't know what he's capable of.
Yeah.
Possibly.
It's just everybody feels so one-sided. Like they'd be too, not prejudiced, but like
biased.
Biased, yeah.
Yeah.
Like all these people were mentioning towards Gryffindor. Like it's just that's why I'm amazed how well Lee Jordan made it. Like, yeah, he was a Gryffindor, but he could commentate for anybody. He just had that energy. So yeah. I don't know. Anyway, The Howler was brilliant, and I enjoyed how it was based on the Molly Weasley one.
From
yes,
Brent.
that was Brent who sent that.
I just sat here. I'm like, wait, there was a Howler in these chapters too. How'd I miss that? Okay.
Nope. She says, yeah, was it Brent who sent that? Well done. This is interesting because I'm pretty sure Deborah is U.S. based, but she says, I've heard doss used as a verb, such as dossing down on someone's couch or floor when sleeping over, but I hadn't realized it was also a noun for a situation given the opportunity to be extremely idle. What a great word, though. I look forward to hearing the international listeners about its use. So apparently she's heard it here in America.
Fascinating.
Which, yeah, I don't
used
think
by somebody who might have been from another country?
Yeah, like I don't think I've ever heard it in that instance either. Like used as a verb, I never used that phrase. So interesting, though. I was thinking about why Snape takes students with an E, owl, as it results in his Defense Against Dark Arts Snoots class. I have a theory about this. Snape probably considers himself to be a superior professor and expects that his students will perform well on their potions owl, and perhaps enough students to fill a class from across four houses do typically get O's in potions. But he hasn't been teaching Defense Against Dark Arts, and we know he has a low opinion of the previous instructors. And perhaps there weren't enough pupils with the O results to form a class. Perhaps that year only Harry did, so Snape can't face another private class with the chosen one. Going forward, Snape probably plans to raise his standards once the younger students get the benefit of a few years of his instruction. I can see that. Yeah, because even like Hermione only managed an E. Like Harry's the only one we know for sure that got an O.
Yeah.
So I could see that. Yeah, if it would have been a class of one, like what's it gonna do? I mean, the other option is like I said, he didn't really get to set the standards for this year. Like I guess that kind of changed when Slughorn came in, though, too.
Yeah.
Because Snape had set a higher standard for potions, but then it was lowered by Slughorn. Yeah, I don't know. I do like her theory.
Yeah, I like it. I can't argue against it.
Yeah. Says I'm not entering the giveaway for the pen, so I thought I'd share my 3 favorite smells, since I share 2 of them with Josh, both pine and the vanilla.
Okay.
Because they remind me of Christmas trees and baking Christmas cookies with my girls. My 3rd favorite aroma is roses.
Okay.
Can see that?
Yeah.
In this week's reading, we discover what Dumbledore's private lessons are about. Studying the enemy. In the House of Gaunt, we get a vivid look at Tom Riddle's thoroughly unpleasant family. The descendants of the great Salazar Slytherin have devolved through inbreeding to mental instability and squalor. Marvolo is all pride and spite, and Morphin thrives on cruelty. While these points could have been made more subtly, they certainly come across clearly. The atmosphere and characters in the scene are reminiscents of Wuthering Heights, which I'm not familiar with, really. So
Okay, I was like, I don't remember that at all.
No,
Okay.
that's
not a Harry Potter thing?
No.
Okay.
Like pop culture stuff.
Okay. Man. Sometimes I just feel like I have blacked out certain parts of the story.
Well, occasionally I think you do.
Yeah. Okay. I don't want to feel like it all the time.
Fair enough. No. Yeah, I'd have to look it up again. Like, I am familiar with the name, but I don't really know anything about it.
Okay.
Let's say it's a Emily Bronte novel.
Yep, I know nothing about it.
Written in 1800s. Yeah.
Definitely don't know anything about it.
Yeah. You know, like, I think if you were an English major, or if you just, took a lot of English classes, like literature classes, you would have covered it, but I never did. Never had to.
Yeah.
Says, hooray for Ginny making the Quidditch team again as chaser. These chapters give us some interesting contrasts in Hermione's ethics. She refuses to even look at the Half-Blood Prince's notes, yet during Quidditch tryouts, she confunds Cormac, which enables Ron to get the keeper position. Josh, why do you think she did that?
Maybe Hermione is just turning a corner here in her life, Maybe.
Turning into a bad guy?
No, just loosening up a little bit,
there.
Maybe
Okay.
After 5 years of being exposed to
Ron and Harry.
and the twins, and, like 4 of the biggest troublemakers you could ask for at Hogwarts.
Sure.
She's just like, you know what? Like, I need to loosen up, or this is never going to work out. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe she likes Ron. Maybe my whole theory about them eventually getting together is starting to happen. Who knows?
Ron and Hermione. Yeah.
Maybe she has a grudge against McCormick Johnson. Maybe he stepped on Crookshank's tail in the hallway or something.
I applaud you for being consistent with McCormick Johnson.
Yeah, I'm not going to remember his real name, so that's going to be stuck in my head forever now.
All right.
Yep.
Next email comes from Chelsea.
Hi, Chelsea.
It says, Dear Josh and Matt, I have finally caught up. Another one. My goal had been to catch up at some point in Book 5, since it's my favorite book in the series, but alas, school got the better of me over the last couple months and has really eaten into my podcast listening time. Excuses. First, I want to applaud Matt. I know you've heard this many times, but you're so cool and collected. I don't know how you do it. I definitely wouldn't be able to. 500 points. Making up for lost time.
Yeah.
Second, big points to you, Josh. Your predictions have been so on point or ridiculously close most of the time. How do you do that? The other Katie actually introduced me to the podcast, and I love how she's referring to her as the other Katie now. I hope you do that in person now.
I really hope so.
When you run into her, it's like, hey, other Katie, how you doing? All right. Introduce me to the podcast, and I can't even tell you how many times I've messaged her with incoherent text because I just don't get how you do it. Also, I know this is a week or so late, but don't feel don't feel bad. Don't feel so bad that you sound so young. This was, when someone called you 14.
Yeah.
Yeah. She says, I'm 25 and I'm still being asked by people occasionally what grade I'm going into, or are your parents home?
Yikes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's rough.
I'm sorry.
So, chapter 10. What do you think of Dumbledore's lesson so far?
Lesson is a very loose word.
Yeah. I guess that's what Dumbledore originally called them. Like, he said he's going to have private lessons with him. But then I think when he got to his office this time, I think he even almost like gave us air quotes lessons. Today's lesson.
Yeah. Yeah. What do I think of it? It's interesting, but I don't know how much of a lesson it is yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you pick up on all the little clues throughout the memory about the association with Voldy? I think kind of touched on that.
Yeah.
The treatment of Merope faces just breaks my heart. No one deserves to be treated like that. Chapter 11. What do you think of McCormick Johnson?
Bully.
Yeah, he seems like a bit of a sore loser in my opinion. Poor Hagrid. He feels so betrayed by the trio, and it's so sad to see him down. And then we find out that his favorite Acromantula is not doing so well. Basically, he's had a pretty bad week. I really hate spiders, but this still makes me feel for him. I'm glad the trio was able to get him smiling a bit at the end, though. The exchange between him and Sassy Harry makes me giggle every time I read it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it throws me off when he calls him Potter, because, we occasionally get, Mr. Potter from some of the other teachers, but otherwise, the only person, I think, who calls him Potter
Snape.
is Snape.
Yeah.
And so to get that from Hagrid, that almost makes me wonder if Hagrid knows.
Absolutely, he does.
That Snape calls him that. And
yeah. Yeah. I bet Harry's, complained about it to Hagrid before.
Sure.
Sitting in his big old chair and being like, I hate when Professor Snape calls me Potter, and Hagrid's like, blah, blah, blah. He's just being Snape, and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
That's just Severus being Severus. Yeah. 100% Hagrid knew that got
sure.
him. Yeah.
Sure. Finally, Hermione confronted McLaggen. What do you think of our little rule breaker?
I like it.
All right.
Yep.
We're okay with that. Let's see. Next email comes from Emily.
Hi, Emily.
Says, hello, Matt and Josh. Belated happy Thanksgiving to you both, and happy birthday to Josh.
Thank you.
I hope it was grand for both occasions.
Definitely.
Few thoughts while listening last week's. The love potion. I fear you may get lots of emails tonight, especially after posing the contest question you did. For clarification, you smell the things that remind you of those you love, not necessarily smells you yourself like. For example, Josh would smell things that remind him of Val or interactions with her.
Yeah, maybe. I understand. Yeah.
Yeah. To clarify about her commute, she says, I only live 5 minutes from work, so it's really not that bad. But in the winter, my car literally it takes longer to warm up than it takes to get there. Either that or I run it cold and it doesn't warm up before I get to work. Also, I love sleep and I crave every warm, comfortable second.
I understand that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Man, that's a very short commute.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. But like I said, I've never worked a job that's farther than 15 minutes from me.
Right.
Usually try to keep it 10 or under. So.
Yeah. And you know all about warming up your car.
I do.
Yeah.
I do. I mean, it makes it more comfortable, but you don't actually need to warm up your car. You're just wasting gas.
Yeah.
That's all it's doing. I mean, it's making it more comfortable for you, but you should be wearing jacket and gloves then if you're cold.
Yeah.
Jacket, gloves, and a hat. You'll be fine.
You'll get there.
Yeah.
That's what hot cocoa's for.
Yeah.
Definitely no other hot beverage that I can think of.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Although, hot cider. I could go for that.
Sure. Yeah.
Although that's more of a like autumn, fall thing than it is winter. So, yeah. Anyway. Dearest Brent, that was an amazing howler. I literally fell over laughing, choked on my gum, and had people on my flight genuinely concerned for my health due to the hacks between breathless laughs. Well done, sir. My hat is off to you.
Yeah.
But on a side...
He's a showman, isn't he?
He is. On a side note, how do you think a howler is written? Like, is there a special howler parchment? Or do you cast a spell on the parchment after you've written your letter? Or does the emotional state while writing it somehow create one? See, I'm a shouty, excited person and a prankster, so I would end up sending them for fun or to mix things up. Imagine a howler with all the mundane subjects like last night's dinner at Grandma's or the weather or how well the garden is growing. That's something I would do.
Do you actually write howlers? I see them more as like a voice memo. Like you just yell into a piece of paper.
Well, you see, and that's the thing. It's like they always arrive as paper.
Yeah.
And like I think there's even like an envelope because you have to open it.
Right, but you don't actually read it though. It just yells at you.
No, exactly.
So why do people think that you would write them?
Because there's a letter and an envelope.
So what if you just screamed at an enchanted piece of paper, Matt, and then
that's the thing. It's like, is the paper enchanted?
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you're not writing on it. You're just yelling at it.
Sure.
That's the only way to properly inflect the tone that you want.
Yeah.
How else is it going to know which words to emphasize and?
Because it essentially turns out to be like a voicemail on speakerphone.
Yeah, pretty much.
Put it in Muggle terms.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and there's no way you can control the volume. Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of I guess what I would picture too is there has to be a voice component involved in writing or recording it.
Yep.
However it works.
Yeah.
On to the reading. I'm always drawn back into the chapters like the first one we read. It's what Matt often says. Sometimes in one chapter we have months worth of time, and others it takes multiple chapters to move in a few hours. The storytelling process is really amazing. Dumbledore, my friends, what an eloquent man. And when he's being sassy, he has grace to he has grace to it you don't realize until afterwards. Shouty Caps Harry and Sassy Harry move aside. Classy, sassy Dumbledore is coming through. Snarky Snape might be a contender if he wasn't so hateable. Then Dumbledore drops lines like, "The murky marshes of memory, and the hearts of literary lovers everywhere melt in unison." Harry's talking to Buckbeak, or Witherwings. What an awful name. It breaks my heart. We keep trying to stitch up our hearts after Sirius's death, but then these little things come back and rip it open anew. Like Harry realizing every morning when the owl post comes that there will be no letter from Sirius. But that's really how grief works. And J.K. did such an amazing job illustrating that. By the time Harry Potter became a real possibility and not just a dream, her own mother had passed away, and J.K. had not yet shared it with her. She has said that she deeply regrets not introducing Harry to her mother.
Dang.
Yeah.
I don't like that at all.
Anyway, out of that puddle of sadness, Hagrid is now speaking to the trio again. Harry has another awful detention with Snape, and Ron is feeling left out again. So it seems everything is back to normal.
Is it, though? I mean, this chapter definitely felt like things were back to normal.
Yeah, I think it was kind of resetting everything.
Yeah.
Back to where I'm cleaning up a few of the new things, like Harry as Quidditch captain, things we haven't seen before necessarily. But then, yeah, going on and, like, getting Hagrid back in the picture. Like, Snape still being Snape. Like I said, it's same old, same old. And now we can move on. We're back at Hogwarts. All our new pieces are in place. All our old ones are still there, and we're ready to go.
Right. It's almost like there isn't like this looming evil presence over everything in the story in this chapter. It's just like, this is a normal weekend at Hogwarts. There's nothing bad on the horizon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, next email from the other Katie.
Hello, other Katie.
Aloha, Matt and Josh. I hope you and your families had a fantastic Thanksgiving. We did.
Yes.
A few thoughts on the last episode. I always forget how young Tonks is in these. Tonks is in these books. When we first meet her, she was a brand new Auror, so she was probably just in her early 20s. Yeah, it's hard to remember sometimes just because she is kind of in a league of her own. Like, we have all the folks that were in the Order the first time around, and then a bunch of old Aurors and a bunch of kids. But then Tonks is at that weird middle ground all by herself.
Yeah.
So it's like, what's she gonna do? It's like she's supposed to be acting with the Aurors, but she's probably closer in age to most of the kids, and she's kind of young at heart. So it's rough.
Yep.
Now she's getting all these adult things going on, and apparently not handling it so well. I mentioned in my last email that I spend a lot of time thinking about how classes work at Hogwarts. I'll spare you the paragraphs I wrote and simply say this. There must be more teachers at Hogwarts than are mentioned. It would take way too much time for the known professors to teach everyone and plan all the lessons. Also, the Charms Department and Transfiguration Department have been mentioned in the books more than once. I've never thought about that either, but it's true.
Okay.
Yeah, like they do mention department, and I mean we know McGonagall and Flitwick.
Yeah. I
mean, like I know occasionally in school systems and just schools in general there are those one teacher departments. Like I'm the head of my own department, but yeah, it can't be. They wouldn't bother with departments if everyone was their own department.
Right.
Yeah. As for potential electives, I doubt there's extra electives we haven't heard of by this point. But students with extra time might choose to fill it by participating in clubs or other extracurricular activities. Which is also a good point.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, Quidditch.
Yeah, that's a time consumer.
Yeah, that takes up a lot of time.
Depending on who your captain is.
Also true. Well, that only takes, 7 people per house? 3, 2, 1, 1. Yeah, 7 people per house. So 28 kids, participating in Quidditch, but that's obviously not the only club out there. Right. Umbridge made a point of canceling all the clubs last year. So, there are other things to do. Harry's not a part of them. So, now for this week's chapters. Chapter 10. Harry is almost too invested in his new potions book, but it's reassuring that his class with Dumbledore still takes precedence. Now we know that Harry's lessons are memories. At least this first one is.
Right.
This is one of the many reasons why I love this book so much. J.K. continues building up her world while still giving us a bit of plot and intrigue. Josh, did the town name ring a bell for you?
Nope. I'm dumb.
Yeah. We finally meet more people who speak Parseltongue. The Gaunts are way creepier than I remember them.
Yeah. Matt, I have a question.
Yeah.
When you first read it, did the town name ring a bell for you? Can you remember?
I honestly can't remember, but I'm going to go ahead and say probably not.
Okay. Because that was in book 4 or 3?
Mm-hmm. It was 4.
4, okay.
First chapter of 4.
Yeah. So there's a whole book that happened in between those references.
Yeah, there's a whole long book in between. It would have been, because by this point I was reading them as they came out.
Sure.
So it would have been, 2 years between 4 and 6. And I probably reread them right before 6. But still, if it was, it wasn't directly coming out of 5. So it's still 2 books previous.
Yeah.
In such a offhanded mention.
Sure.
Like, yeah, it takes place in Little Hangleton, but
I wonder how many people out there caught it immediately.
Yeah. I'm sure there were people.
Yeah.
Because there are people way more invested than I was back then.
Sure. Yeah.
But I would say at best, I would have said, hey, I've heard that before, but I don't remember why.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Ogden seems to be a stand-up dude. Also, I really appreciate that Harry clearly wanted to help Merope, even though he's in a memory where he can't do anything. Yeah, it's amazing how Harry reacts to these memories.
Yeah.
Like, Dumbledore always seems to just sit there silently and watch. I kind of get the feeling that with most of these memories, he's sat through many of them before. And so he's watching it for the 100th time.
Right.
But it's Harry's first time, and it's like, oh, big surprise, big twist, big turn. He doesn't know what's coming up next. Dumbledore knew what was going to happen.
Mm-hmm. So
it wasn't a big surprise for him. He's not going to react to it, but...
Right.
Yeah. Harry's first time. I can see it. She says, I feel bad for Merope, but I also really dislike that she hoodwinked Tom Riddle Sr. It's true. It's like...
Such is love.
You feel bad for her, but then she's kind of evil in a way on her own.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to call it abuse, but she controlled Riddle for at least many months.
Right.
Before she thought maybe, okay, maybe I can give it up and maybe he'll stick around on his own. But
yeah. Not the worst thing anybody's done.
All right.
In the grand scheme of things, really.
Yeah. Chapter 11. We get to hear more about Newt level classes. It seems that Harry and Ron are working on a fully loaded schedule with just 5 courses. So how on earth does Hermione do it with 2 extra classes and prefect duties?
You answered that in your question. She's Hermione.
It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even question that thing anymore.
Yep.
Yeah.
Ron is so great in the next scene. I have scars. I'm tall. Yep.
Yes, Ron. Yes, you are.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's not the point, Ron. Yeah. All right. I'd almost forgotten about Stan until this moment. Can't blame you. We don't really get too many mentions of him.
Right.
Question. If your kids were Hogwarts students, would you feel safer leaving them at Hogwarts or bringing them home?
I feel like they're pretty safe at Hogwarts. All things considered, you know. They've
Yeah.
had one kid die there in the last 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Where we've seen many people die and go missing from non-Hogwarts places over the last just year, you know?
Sure.
So, yeah. Hogwarts is pretty safe, I think. As long as Dumbledore is there, and looks like he'll be there
he's
for a
there
while,
for now.
so,
Yeah.
we're good.
I mean,
We're good.
last year when he was removed, that was a little scary, but
Removed, quote unquote. He wasn't removed.
He wasn't there though.
Yeah, but he went out on his own terms for good reason.
Yeah, but he wasn't there to protect him. Like, I mean, Umbridge was in charge. That's not good.
You know what I'm saying.
She's not stopping anybody.
Dumbledore was still very much in control of that whole situation.
Of that situation, yes. Yeah. But the rest of the year, he wasn't.
Yeah.
How do these get good enough to try out for the house teams? Do they just practice like the Weasleys do, or is there some kind of Little League Quidditch?
Maybe both.
Yeah?
Yeah, and I feel like there's probably like free time at Hogwarts where kids are just flying around. You know, like PE classes, essentially, you know,
or just, I mean...
like a pickup league of Quidditch.
Exactly, pick-up games on the weekend.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what the Weasleys were doing at home, so why wouldn't the kids do it at school, too?
Yeah.
I could see it.
Yep.
Yeah, would they really not be able to fit care of magical creatures into their class schedules? You question this, too.
Uh-huh.
Every time I think about classes at Hogwarts, I'm tempted to draw up a course schedule, but every time I try, I get confused because JK isn't the best at consistency with her classes. Maybe I'll try again and send in my results. Yeah. All right. Next email looks like from Brent.
Hello, sir.
Dear Matt and the Muggle, you know, Josh, while we may have lost Lee Jordan, at least you still have me.
Don't know if that's a fair exchange across the board, but okay. I'm interested to see where this goes.
All right. So I will readily admit, as much as I love the early chapters of the book is really cooking now. And yeah, that Slug Club chapter is definitely a bit slow, especially compared to what we got this week. I have two thoughts that hopefully no one else has covered yet. 1, 9 galleons for a textbook? What the heck? Harry's wand and Sorcerer's Stone cost 7 galleons, which is approximately somewhere between $200 and $1,000. Now, I'm not so sure about that, because I thought I remembered a galleon being somewhere in the range of like $5 to $7. So I'm not sure where he's getting in 200 to 1,000.
That's Alex math.
Yeah. In any case, I would agree. So yeah, he wants to know like what is up with that textbook. Why does it cost so much? Especially for when the kids' results don't work. But yeah, I would agree that 9 galleons feels like a lot for a textbook.
Okay, hold on.
Yep.
So I just pushed in Harry Potter Galleon Converter.
Okay.
Without clicking on any articles or anything like that.
Yep.
Immediately pops up and it says, or people also ask how much is a galleon worth in dollars.
Sure.
If the price of the prophet is in line with Muggle newspapers, that means that 1 newt should be about 20 cents to $1 US. The price of a newspaper being about $1 in 1991.
Sure.
This makes a sickle worth somewhere between $6 and $30. and gives a galleon a value of between $100 and $500.
Okay. Yeah, I can see it because they were paying 1 canute for the newspaper each morning.
Yeah. So, without digging any further,
yep,
I feel like Brent has a very valid point.
Yeah,
that's a lot for a textbook.
Yeah, because I was thinking okay, yeah, I guess I expect a wand to be expensive. That's fine, but yeah, I was amazed when I got to college level and how much those textbooks cost. Yeah. I made a point of trying to buy as many used textbooks as possible, and still they could cost $80 to $100,
right? Used.
But with that conversion in mind, that's a lot.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. Anyway, number 2. The Pensieve is basically the holodeck. I always knew J.K. was a closet Trek fan, but I've always wondered what would happen if they stayed behind when the person whose memories they're in moves out of the picture. What would happen if they had stayed in the House of Gaunt when Bobby left?
Good question.
Yeah. And I don't know if we've ever really gotten a clear example. Maybe this was just more of a movie thing, but in my mind, so Harry always seems to follow around whose ever memory this is.
Right.
We know he had to run around with Tom Riddle back in the diary. He followed him around for a while.
Right.
But for some reason, like I said, I'm trying to think if this is how it's portrayed in the movie or if it's just this is how it works in my head. But since it's that person's memory, they wouldn't have a memory of the house after they left it. As you move forward in time, they don't have a memory of the house, so that house is going to disappear.
That makes sense.
So there's kind of a bubble surrounding them that is what they can perceive at any given time. And that's their memory.
Right.
So that's all that would be contained. And so if they stayed behind, either everything would just go black, or I don't know if you're auto booted out of the memory or how these things work. I still have always wondered, how do you get out of the Pensieve? Dumbledore is always there to pull Harry out.
Yeah.
Is there a spell to get out? Do you just think, I want to get out of here? I want to go back?
Maybe it just eventually ends and you're just done.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like the end of a VHS tape. Everything just stops, Matt.
Well, we kind of wonder about that when Harry was viewing things through the Pensieve before. There were multiple memories in there that he was viewing, right?
Mm-hmm.
They all kind of took place in the Ministry in that courtroom, but there was definitely a time lapse between them.
Right.
And we kind of wondered what would happen. If he kept sitting there, would they just keep playing on a loop, all the memories that were in there, or would it just end? Would it stop?
I think it'd stop.
Yeah.
Regardless of what I said before.
So, I guess that's how I've always pictured it. Is if you get too far away from the subject of the memory, either things will stop, or at least what's around you is going to disappear because it's not actually a part of that memory anymore.
Yeah.
Anyway, he continues, as I'm sure you're trying to figure out, and many people have asked you the question, who is the Half-Blood Prince? I will simply respond to the question the same way J.K. responded when asked, "What makes you sure? What makes you so sure that the Half-Blood Prince is a person?"
Usually Prince is associated with people.
Usually.
I don't know. Somebody had to write it. I guess in this magical world that it could have created. I don't know.
It's okay.
Yeah.
You have time to think about it.
Yeah.
And Snape, while being a good teacher with very high demands, is horrible, vindictive, unforgiving human being. Really, Matt? I get it why you say what you say, but he really is just horrible. All right. Well, that's all for now. Well, not all.
Oh, no.
Nah, I'm only joking.
This time.
P.S. Dear Marissa, my birthday is August 19th.
Okay.
Marissa's been handing out birthday presents recently. Brent wants in.
Oh, gotcha. Noted. I mean, I didn't. Marissa probably did. I'll forget.
Let's see here. Next email from Ryan.
Hi, Ryan.
It says, Dear Josh and Matt, first of all, happy late Thanksgiving.
Thanks.
Hope you had a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, Josh, were the chapters boring this week?
Nope.
That's good. Says, to me, the first time I read The House of Gaunt, I didn't like it, but it grew on me over time. So if you say they were boring, I won't blame you.
We're all good.
Yeah. Like Hermione asked, do you think that the Half-Blood Prince could be a girl?
Could be, but Harry makes a valid point. You know, Prince usually associated with males. I mean, sure, it absolutely could be, and I appreciate that Hermione at least poses that question. You know, it
Sure.
is fair to consider that they don't necessarily know the sex or gender of, you know, whoever's the Half-Blood Prince is, but you know, I like that the question is posed. Yes, it could be, but I'm leaning towards probably not.
Sure.
Yeah.
Ryan also says, we have a Thanksgiving tradition where we watch the original Home Alone and eat our appetizers. Just the original, though.
Good.
Yes. You can watch the sequel. I don't have a problem with that.
Yep.
But there's only two.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned. Which I will be watching those soon, actually.
Mm-hmm. Bust them out, Matt.
Getting into that season.
It absolutely is. We already started watching Christmas movies.
Did you?
Oh, yeah.
Do you have a first that you always go to?
No,
Or
kind of just how we're
change?
feeling.
All right, what was the first this year then?
I mean, like the first official one that I say, like official Elf.
It's amazing how many people go to that one right away.
Yeah.
Like I used to own it. I don't anymore. My wife actually hates that movie.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't like it the first time I saw it.
Yeah.
It grew on me over time. I like it more and more each time.
The strange part is the rest of her family loves it.
I knew she was a rebel.
Yeah. The one I can't stand is A Christmas Story.
I enjoy it. I do.
Because I'll probably catch a lot of flack for that because I know it feels like everybody else loves it.
Sure. So
Cannot stand the thing.
Here's my go-to Christmas movies. Okay. That like I have Blu-rays of that I put on all the time.
Sure. You like them enough to buy the Blu-ray.
Absolutely. Right.
Like you had them on VHS.
Yeah. I can't rely on them being, you know, on TV or Netflix or anything like that. So I had to buy them to ensure that I could always watch them. Elf. Home Alone 1 and 2.
Sure.
A Christmas Story.
No.
Santa Claus 1, 2, and 3.
I don't know if I've seen 3.
3, really good.
I love rewatching 1.
Yes. 2 is definitely
Questionable.
And
yeah, I don't know if I've ever seen 3.
3 is it's the Toy Story thing. Toy Story 1,
sure,
brilliant. Toy Story 2, okay, I see what they're doing there. And then Toy Story 3, great.
Yeah,
awesome.
All right.
Same thing with Santa Claus trilogy. And then Christmas Vacation.
Okay.
Yeah, gotta watch it.
Not one of my personal favorites, but I understand it.
Yep. Now, if we're talking about what Val likes as far as Christmas movies is concerned, let's just go to the Hallmark Channel and just watch all of those made-for-TV Christmas specials.
Val,
yeah, she's in love with that stuff. Yeah. Also, The Holiday is her jam. Yeah, I know.
It's better than the Hallmark stuff.
Yeah, she loves the rom-coms, man. The holiday rom-coms, that's her thing.
I'll take Love Actually.
Yeah, she also loves that quite a bit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Next email from Elizabeth.
Hi, Elizabeth.
Hey, Matt and Josh. My name is Elizabeth, and I'm from Sweden.
Ooh.
I finally caught up with you guys. It was a great podcast. Thank you.
No, thank you.
Says, I'd like to comment on something that was brought up in an email a few weeks ago. Someone said that they would like to choose their Hogwarts house based in the Pottermore quiz. When I took the quiz, the last question was actually Slytherin or Ravenclaw. I chose Slytherin, of course. So the Sorting Hat does take your choice into account, or at least it did for me. So that makes me wonder, maybe if you are close enough, if you are on that 50-50 line, maybe the last question does become you make the choice.
Yeah. Huh. Okay.
I don't think that quiz is exactly the same for everybody. I think it kind of does base it, there is an algorithm, and it bases it on how you answer the questions.
Yeah.
So.
Interesting.
Yeah. Last week on the show, you talked about how Snape accepted E students in Defense Against Dark Arts, but not potions. I think he realized that he would be forced to have one-on-one classes with Harry if he didn't let the E students in. Once again, I like that theory.
Yeah.
The Half-Blood Prince is my favorite in the series. I hope you like this week's chapters, Josh. Looking forward to another great episode.
Thank you. Hope you enjoy.
Next email from our headmistress, Marissa.
Hello, Marissa. It's about time you wrote in.
Says, Bonjour, Matt and Josh. I recently watched the remake of Beauty and the Beast with Emma Watson. So rightly, pardon my French.
That's so many different ways.
Yep. Personal note on driving to work. My commute is an hour both ways. So I get done with your podcast within a couple of days just listening in the car. And now that we're getting into the snow weather, I could be looking at much longer times. I would love to work from home, but alas, it's not an option right now. Marissa, I think you're crazy. I can't even imagine living an hour away from my job. Especially, with in snow country. Yeah. That's ridiculous. I just couldn't do it. On to the reading. How does one invent their own spells? I was just under the impression that you learned how to do the spells that were already in use. But then when were those invented? So many questions and no answers. I've wondered the same thing. Did you catch that one-liner, Josh, in this one? Harry was reading through the potions book.
Yeah.
And he said, like, not everything seemed to be about the text itself. It seemed to be like he was inventing spells or creating spells.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I totally didn't grab onto that at all.
And, I mean, maybe that's one of the things, like, we've read it so much that pick up on that. But I've wondered the same thing. Like, how can anybody create their own spell? Like, is it complicated? How does it become an official spell? Because, like, we've seen the kids when they are younger, like, trying to, like, Ron trying to turn his stupid rat yellow. It didn't work.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. But he tried to turn Scabbers yellow.
Yeah.
And, what was the other one? Like, I think Seamus was trying to, like, was he trying to, like, turn water into wine or something?
Sounds about right.
Or he was trying to turn it into some other drink, and I think it was alcoholic. But, like, those obviously didn't work. Like, my rule of thumb was always, if it's in English and it rhymes, it's probably not going to work. Like, legitimate spells are usually Latin-based and short.
Yeah.
But, yeah, then it stands to reason. How do you create spells? Like, someone had to create, or even if they're not creating them, if just say it's magic and they're all the spells were just created, it's up to you to discover them, maybe? Like, discover the right words that make it work. But, like, how do you go about doing that?
Yeah.
It, like, no matter how you say it happens, there's still a lot of questions as to how it actually happens.
There's a lot of questions just in general, Matt.
Yeah. But that's one of those, if you didn't notice, that I think about.
Yeah.
So, I have the same question, Marissa. Maybe someday we'll figure it out. Create our own spells. Do you think any Muggleborns sing "We're off to see the wizard" when they're on the way to Dumbledore's office? I feel like this should be a thing.
No, because, I mean, once you find out that the wizard's a fraud, and everybody's a wizard, not just like Dumbledore, you know?
But that's the thing. It's like, I could totally see myself doing this.
Yeah.
Like, my wife and I make up crazy little, I don't know if you want to call them jingles or whatever, just little songs about what we're doing all the time. And occasionally, when there is a song that has already been written that fits what we're doing, we will either, slightly adapt it to exactly what we're doing or just sing that phrase.
Yeah. Because
that's what we're doing. So I could totally see, we're off to see the wizard. Like, totally do that.
Yeah, I guess so.
Especially if, like you said, Muggleborn specifically, that probably grew up watching that. By the time I was 11, I would have seen Wizard of Oz who knows how many times.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah. I really don't understand how it's hard for wizards to dress like Muggles. I mean, I don't think I would have a problem if I had to dress like another nationality or ethnicity. I'm at a loss for what the term should be to differentiate the Muggle and Wizarding communities. It just seems like you can look around when you're shopping or see catalogs and figure it out.
Yeah. Try to fit into a specific culture,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't be hard. That's, crazy to me.
And I mean, I understand that, like, wizards just tend to wear the robes. Fine. But you wear something under the robes, don't you?
Yeah.
It's probably not too different from Muggle clothes, I would assume.
No, it's not. Like, every time they're dressed in, like, non-robes, like, they totally look like they would fit in anywhere.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's partly the movies that we see, but...
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it shouldn't be that hard, but JK definitely writes it that way all the time.
Yeah. It's... a funny little thing, I guess.
Yeah, it's a little quirk. It goes along with how Hermione mentions that wizards don't have an ounce of logic.
Yeah.
The whole scene with the Gaunts makes me very uncomfortable. Poor Merope is abused emotionally and physically. Well, I don't agree that she should have essentially drugged and raped Tom Riddle Sr. I understand that she was very unhappy her entire life and just wanted to be loved. Isn't that something most of us want?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. By any means necessary.
The second chapter... The second chapter doesn't have much to offer for the plot aside from the tryouts and how Hermione cheated. Shame on her. But I'm glad the trio made up with Hagrid. I don't like when they're not on speaking terms. It's no good. Anyway, I hope you both had a wonderful Thanksgiving. Josh's food pictures looked amazing.
Oh, thank you.
And Brent's Hour last week was awesome. 10 points to Slytherin.
Boo!
Her job as headmistress.
Yeah, I guess so. I will allow it, but I'm not going to be happy about
it. Fair enough.
Okay.
Next email from the other Alex.
The other Alex. Hello, other Alex.
It says, Dear Josh and Matt, a little pressed for time tonight, but I'm glad Josh is still enjoying the chapters. Yeah. The Merope backstory is pretty amazing. Also, the fact that the last bullet points from Josh's Muggle notes were Snape continues to be Snape and flopperworms. This is why the podcast is the #1 Harry Potter podcast, bar none. Josh, you make reading these books feel like a totally new experience.
Thank you. I mean, who else cares about flopperworms like I care about flopperworms?
It's true. I'm pretty sure you've taken that claim already, the #1 flopperworm podcast.
Oh, 100%. Nobody's even challenging me for that. Witch Weekly, I see you. You ain't the #1 flopperworm podcast.
They may try, but they will fail. All right, next email from Jeff.
Hi, Jeff.
Says, hi, Matt and Josh. I've just returned from my Thanksgiving visit to see my family, and of course, making a pilgrimage to the wizarding world of Harry Potter. I'm pretty tired, but I wanted to share some things, especially some photos with you guys and our Tales from Godric's Hollow community.
Okay. Bring on the dragon.
I am going to send over at least some of these pictures. It's not going to yell at me too much. And then we'll continue reading. That's not where I put the pictures. Once again, I planned this all out, and it's just not working with me here. Why did it save as a PDF? That's weird. Let me know if this works for you. This is going to be weird. Yeah. Can you open that easily?
Downloading. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, that's going to work?
Yep.
Well, it'll give you something to do while I'm reading this email then.
Sure.
I'll send some more of these over.
The clouds are awesome in that picture.
Yeah, some of these pictures, I was like, you can't necessarily tell exactly what is going on, and it's going to be even harder because they're going to be a little bit smaller when I put them up on the website. But yeah, like it just makes me want to go back there. And now I'm thinking I have to go back when they have all their holiday stuff up. I'm assuming they're going to keep doing this every year. Like he mentioned last week that this is the first year that they're dressing it up for Christmas.
Right.
So I'm assuming that they can't have too bad of a response going from this. I'm like, who's going to complain about it?
Nobody.
Yeah. So hopefully going forward, that will continue to happen. And, by the time we're done with book 7, like I said, that's kind of when I'm going to get down there. If that's the end of next year, hey, maybe they'll have decorations up. We'll see how it works out.
Yeah.
Or if that works out. It says, I ended up going to Universal 3 times while I was away. Once with family and twice on my own. I have to say that I enjoyed going by myself more than I did with everyone else in the family, as they at best tolerate my passion for the series. A couple of people did ask to be sorted, and I did one of those all the sorting hat quizzes for them, so that was cool. It was really an absolutely incredible place to be at, though, and all the Christmas decorations and light just make it all the more so. I'm not sure if my photos will quite do it justice, but Universal really did a spectacular job, especially in Hogsmeade, and especially with the light show at the castle. It says see below. That's the first couple pictures that are there.
Right.
Yeah. As I said I would last week, I did indeed put your podcast on at the Wizarding World, specifically while I was dining in the Leaky Cauldron.
Nice. One
of my photos shows the iPod on the table, along with my beef lamb and Guinness stew. And really a special Christmas pudding dessert that they are serving there for the season.
I was wondering what that was.
There you go. According to my camera phone, I ended up taking 463 photos the days I was there. And I don't even like taking pictures, but it was just too beautiful not to. I had to be very selective with the sampling of photos I'm sharing, and there are some that Josh cannot see.
What?
Sorry.
What could possibly be a spoiler?
Matt, I'm leaving in your hands which of these below are okay with him seeing.
I'd like to point out that I see 0 dragons in any of these photos.
Yeah. I think he may have sent... Did I not send you one with the dragon?
Nope.
He did send one with the dragon.
What in the world could be spoilery?
This one's fine. I can send it to you. Hold on just a moment.
Let me see the dragon on the page. That's the only 2 things I have to live for in this series now. The dragon on the bank and the stupid symbol that everybody knows except me. That's it. That's all I need.
That's all?
That's all I need to know at this point. Those are the only 2 things I'm confident in actually getting answers to. I mean, if you want to go down that hole, I mean, we could talk about how badly I need to know more about the squid, but I know that's not happening, and many, many other things, Matt. The Goblin Rebellion. Come on now.
All right. Well, you should be getting your dragon picture, I think. Says the Wizarding World was just so special right now.
Yes.
Made even more so by how dark it is at night. In the evenings, it was cool, 60-ish or so, and I put on my Gryffindor sweatshirt, sipped on hot butterbeer, as it always should be served, and meandered through Hogsmeade Village listening to the soundtrack. It was perfect. I've noticed in recent visits that the soundtrack for Diagon Alley and Hogsmeade are different, and each plays music not heard in the other park. I've even come to love a piece of music I didn't even notice in the movies specifically, but I heard it at the park. It's from the 6th movie, so Josh hasn't heard it yet. He does have a link to it here on YouTube, and we can post that in show notes for anybody who's wondering what that is. I also really enjoy interacting with the staff members. They give me an opportunity to totally geek out. Most of them are super into the story and the world, and some even act in character according to where they're stationed. For example, when I was in Nocturne Alley at Borgin and Burke's, I was messing around with the staff, mocking them for their awful and macabre Christmas decorations. I guess to dark wizards, nothing says Christmas like black feathers and dead plants. And asking why in the name of Merlin's beard the Ministry allows Nocturne Alley to exist. Spotting my Gryffindor lanyard, they told me that people like you don't do well down here. Well, another said, "Would you like to see our Gryffindor section?" and promptly pointed to a shelf laden with skulls.
What do they do to Hufflepuffs down there?
Yeah, I don't think you'd survive.
No, not a chance.
Says it was all good fun, but seriously, why does the Ministry allow Nocturne Alley? Can we have an episode about this when Josh is finally done with the series?
Yeah, same reason why they allow Slytherin at Hogwarts. Equality.
Yeah. Another example was a woman working in the magical menagerie shop who can only be described as a Wizarding World savant. I had asked about a multicolored cat stuffed animal, and that I didn't remember from the books. She proceeded to tell me the book, Azkaban, Chapter 4, and precise reference to one of the cats of every color, and said that if I told her which edition I had, she could tell me the page number it was on.
Wow.
She was like a Harry Potter Rain Man.
Wow. That's impressive.
Yeah. Yeah, that's dedication right there. Also, there is an animatronic Crookshanks high up on a shelf. Josh, perhaps you can ask him if he's really who he seems to be. I also witnessed the adoption of a pygmy puff at the Weasley's Wizard Wheezes, as well as a naming. It was like a page cut out of the old Cabbage Patch Kid naming ceremony in New York in the 1980s.
What?
Telling you, Josh, we gotta get you down there.
Take me there now.
We'll get you down there, one way or another. Seriously, these people are our people, and I love them for it. Below are some pictures, starting with the Lights of the Castle show. Though calling it a light show is like calling Hogwarts a building. So yeah, he explains these pictures a little bit. I'll try to leave some descriptions up on the show notes and such. But
cool.
Yeah, my favorite is that they actually sell You-Know-Poo.
Yeah.
Says, speaking of You-Know-Poo, I'm pretty pooped myself, so I'll wrap it up for this week. Yeah. So there you go. Another successful journey to the wizarding world.
Jealous, guys. I'm jealous.
Yeah. Next email from Maria.
Hi, Maria.
It says, hey, guys. I used to listen to my Harry Potter audiobooks on shuffle for years before I came across your podcast. So it was a happy surprise to see that we are finally here. Chapter 10 is one of my favorite chapters. I just have to stop there.
On shuffle?
Yeah.
How many times would you have to read through or listen through the books for the ability to play them on shuffle to actually make sense to you?
To actually understand and comprehend what's going on. Because I'm assuming, like, each chapter is a separate track.
Yeah.
Like, you're not, listening to book 2, then book 7, then book 5. It's going to be book 2, chapter 3, and then book 7, chapter 4.
That's exactly how I'm picturing it.
Yeah. That just seems ridiculous. Like, that sounds worse than, the people who did, start at book 3 and then read book 7 and then start back. Yeah. Wow. Huh. Maybe that's how you learn. Well, you wouldn't learn page numbers from audiobooks.
We need more information on this.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
Yeah. That's
follow-up
that's
email
crazy.
Next week.
Yeah. Says, I tend to ask a lot of questions all the time because I always want to know why people behave the way they do. In this chapter, we get a closer view into Voldy's life. 9 galleons for a potions book? This seems very high for a class of 16-year-olds. How did the Weasleys manage that with all their kids in all the classes? I guess this is why they get their books secondhand. Except for Ron's potion book, I think he ordered at the same time Harry did. So I'm guessing they paid the 9 galleons.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unless there is mail order used books, I don't know. Why are the first years trying out for Quidditch? Didn't they state that first years weren't allowed to play in Sorcerer's Stone? But hey, if I was a first-year Gryffindor and found out the Hufflepuffs were going to try out for my team, I'd try out too.
You might as well, right?
Yeah. So that did catch me a little off guard when I was reading. But I think J.K. still has it right. Did you remember this or have a problem with this, Josh?
I don't remember it too well.
Okay. So what I recall is I think the line is actually that first years aren't allowed to have brooms. So that was a big deal when
so they had to borrow
Harry
brooms.
was able to buy a broom.
Right.
Because, they teach the first years how to fly.
Yeah.
That wasn't a problem.
With school-issued brooms that
Yep.
Hagrid defrosts in the wintertime.
Yep.
Yeah.
And in the tryouts here, J.K. specifically mentions there is a group of first year with school brooms. So
Okay.
I don't think they're breaking any rules.
Yeah, no.
I think it would be really hard for a first year to get on the team in the first place, especially with a school broom.
Yeah.
And I don't that's why she had to make an exception. She's like, okay, this kid can fly even on the school brooms. We need to get him a real broom.
Yeah.
And that's why she had to make the exception for Harry.
Right. And that's why it was such a big deal that first year made.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't think, because they say he's the youngest seeker in a century or something like that. So
Right.
obviously there have been young kids like him that have played.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think it's a matter of him being a first year. Just generally first years don't have that experience, so they're probably not going to make the team, and they're not allowed to have their own broom. But I don't think it's that they can't try out for the team.
Right. They just have to borrow a broom.
Yeah.
Yep.
So like I said, I was slightly confused by that too at first. It's first years in Quidditch don't usually go together.
Sure.
But I don't think it's
There's
wrong
nothing
that they were trying out.
permitting them from trying it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Next email from our other headmistress, Melby.
Hello, Melby.
Says, hey, Josh and Matt, I couldn't write in last week because I was bogged down with schoolwork. I'm a creature of habit, so I simply cannot write my email earlier. It fits into my schedule nicely, well, usually. Now had I known you were recording late, I had plenty of time when I arrived home from class, but I will forgive you. I am a benevolent headmistress.
Thank you, Melby.
As for my picture, I totally agree with Josh. I got Snape's expression wrong. I was going for a victorious smirk, but his smirk was too smiley and his eyes were too wide. But I think we all know that I'm not very good at drawing, and this is just a bit of fun. So I'm quickly going to cover my thoughts on last week's chapters. Point to Josh for guessing Snape would be Defense Against Dark Arts professor. I think Snape is a good Defense Against Dark Arts teacher, even though he is vile, he knows his stuff. The knowledge he imparts will undoubtedly be helpful. That's presuming he doesn't sabotage his own lessons as part of Voldemort's nefarious plot to ensure that the students aren't equipped to defend themselves. I'm glad that Josh enjoyed last week's chapters, and I'm confident that Josh has enjoyed these chapters as well. First of all, no house elves for Hermione. She is against that stuff. Unless it's Dobby and he's helping with Spew, but Dobby doesn't like Spew. Just Hermione's knitting.
Yes. Did she ever find out that it was Dobby taking all of them? I can't remember.
Well,
Get resolved?
I don't think they really addressed it, but Dobby ran into the room of requirement wearing all the hats.
Right. But we don't know if Hermione caught on.
Yeah, I mean, Hermione was there, so she, in theory, would have seen Dobby, but yeah, it wasn't really brought up. It's like, oh, Dobby's been taking them all.
Yeah.
Oh, they haven't been getting them. Like, yeah, we didn't really get any of that.
Yeah, okay.
There's so much I want to say about the memory Dumbledore and Harry traveled together. I think in summary, it's interesting to see who Voldy's parents were and how they ended up together. It's also very tragic. They weren't in love, not really, and Tom Riddle Sr. abandoned Merope and Voldy. No wonder he hates Muggles. His Muggle father abandoned him and his mother. And since he was raised in an orphanage, we know Merope died or abandoned Voldy. Merope is a really tragic story, downtrodden and treated badly. She wanted to be loved and to find an escape, but the only way she knew how was to use magic. What do you think about McLaggen? I have lots of thoughts and feelings about people like him who feel so entitled. I don't like cheating, but I'm glad that Hermione cheated, because having him on the team would be an absolute disaster.
But will it be an absolute disaster to not have him on the team? That's the intriguing question.
Only one way to find out.
Yeah, keep reading.
Not sure you've paid much mind to it, Josh, but notice how Ron and Hermione have no time for Harry's paranoia about Malfoy. I suppose after so many years of Snape not being the big bad, they have started not to trust Harry's feelings on this. They're probably thinking, stick to what you know.
Yeah.
Tell us about Voldemort. There's a great quote I heard on a podcast about unsolved mysteries, and it was something along the lines, just because I'm paranoid doesn't mean they're not after me. And I think that sums up Harry very well.
Right.
Half-Blood Prince feels like a much faster-paced story than Goblet of Fire or Order of the Phoenix, so I hope the pacing appeases Josh.
It's beautiful. I love it.
Awesome. Next email comes from Hannah.
Hi, Hannah.
Says, hi, Matt and Josh. I can't believe I missed writing in last week with such incredible chapters. I have a good reason, though. I got a concussion at work during the summer.
Oh, no.
And still experienced dizziness and headaches from it. A week before Thanksgiving, I got hit in the head again at work and got a contusion on top of the ongoing concussion symptoms. I have a lot of frustration and anger at the setback since the contusion brought back bad headaches, some difficulty concentrating, trouble finding words, dizziness, etc. All that plus continuing to work full-time and working on my master's degree means that I'm missing writing in for some pretty amazing chapters.
Okay. Going forward, if anyone has an excuse that's less than that, I'm not going to accept it, because that's the bar right there.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dang. I'm sorry, and I
Yeah.
hope you feel better, like, immediately.
I'm kind of curious what your job is now.
Yeah.
Doesn't sound too safe. I'm not sure I want your job, but I'm kind of curious as to what it is.
What kind of job could you have while also working on a master's degree?
Anything, really.
I mean, not anything. I mean, you only have so much time in the day.
Sure.
So many questions.
Yeah. In summary of last week, then, here are two comments I would have sent in. The first time I read about Snape's appointment to defense professor, I was furious at the injustice of it all. I never liked him or trusted him, and it just felt wrong for him to be teaching this class. And I love Sassy Harry. There's no need to call me sir, Professor, is a beautiful line, and the detention he got for saying it, in my opinion, well worth it. A couple of shout-outs. First to Emily, who wrote in last week about writing on the writing on Hagrid's cake. Thank you. This has always bothered me. This has always bothered me too. How they dumb down Hagrid is so unnecessary. I have blatantly refused to copy that cake with the writing for that reason. And Brent, your howler was amazing. Josh, it's not that I necessarily agree with all the criticism, but it was so well done. Receiving a howler of that quality would be an honor, even in spite of the critiques.
I am honored. I'm honored that you guys love me so much. Enough to yell at me.
It just means they care.
That's right.
Now for this week. More amazing chapters. Josh, what do you think of Voldemort's family? Quite the mess, huh?
Yep. Which isn't a surprise in this world.
Did you pick up on the town of Little Hangleton? Covered that. I'm guessing you didn't, but it's the same place we visited at the book before.
Wow, no confidence.
I didn't really expect you to there. Come on.
I know.
We're getting used to what names you pick up on, which names you throw away. So
True.
Poor Moreau Gaunt, abused mercilessly by father and tormented by her brother to the point that her magic was severely affected. Voldemort has insanity and deep-rooted Muggle hate in his background, while also being abandoned by his Muggle father and conceived under trickery. No wonder he's messed up. Combine that with high levels of intelligence, a thirst for power, and a lack of mercy and love, and you get a pretty scary guy. Josh, I am hoping you can enjoy a chapter such as this one that explores memory and history. On my first read-through, I found it fascinating. I'm someone who loves to explore the psychology of characters and why they are the way they are. This gives such great insight into Voldemort's beginnings, and I find it intriguing, as much as I also find it horrifying, given how disturbing the Gaunt family is. However, with Dumbledore as the guide down memory lane, the trip is bound to be both funny and profound. He has a way of making these tense situations seem lighter and scarier situations seem safer. A couple more notes before I close, given how late this email is. First, Hermione breaking the rules for Ron is amazing. Ron certainly seems jealous for Hermione's attention, and she for his, but other people are also vying for Ron's attention. Seems like it could be interesting.
Yeah.
And speaking of teen drama, Harry's obsession with Draco is getting worse, or at least it's continuing. It's hilarious with Ron and Hermione's quips and comments. Harry has good instincts, but can get obsessed at sometimes. That's all my comments for the chapters this week. As horrible as the whole concussion process has been, I will say one thing about it. Because I was taking off work, I was taken off working with my clients as a result of the concussion. It allowed me to find your podcast. I caught up with your podcast while recovering, and it kept me sane while I was not allowed to work with my clients. Thank you so much for that, and for your ongoing work with this podcast.
Thank you. And you need to recover.
Yeah, that makes me even more curious.
Yeah.
Like you have clients. Like one of my first thoughts was like, maybe you're working retail and something fell off a shelf and hit you in the head or like something like that. But if you have clients,
a steel factory.
Yeah, like something construction related or something. But yeah, if you're working with clients, that doesn't feel like that'd be your job. So
I mean, Matt, you could hit your head sitting in your office at your computer. You know?
Yeah, but generally you're not going to get a concussion from that.
Shelf falls on your head.
Twice?
Maybe if you're really bad at putting up shelves.
Yeah, I hope it's not a construction company.
So many questions.
All right. Next email from Atari Alex.
Hi, Alex.
It says, Dear Josh and Matt, so update in case anyone cares. I spent Thanksgiving in New York City, and while it was snowing when I left Syracuse, we did not in fact have any snow while I was in the Big Apple. But who knows what next year will bring. But in the meantime, I promise to stop my email intros about the weather for a while at least.
Okay, we'll see.
So some pretty interesting stuff happens this week, but I'm sure you guys will do a wonderful job breaking it down as you always do. I'm here to talk to you about one thing and one thing only. My many unanswered questions about the pensieve. Is it really necessary for Harry to stick his whole face into the bowl to enter a memory?
Yes.
Does your body
immersion in your senses.
Does your body actually physically go into the memory, or is it left standing there while you wander through the memory?
It's left standing there while you wander through the memory. Like, look, you have to get your whole face in there because you have to submerge your ears. Because if you're still able to hear when you're in that room, like, you wouldn't be able to fully be immersed in the memory because you'd still be hearing what's going on outside of the memory. And that would prevent you from getting fully in.
Why does Harry always get the sensation that he's falling into the bowl, though?
I mean, just because that's the sensation that accompanies it, I guess.
That's just what
yeah.
The pensieve makes his brain think?
Yeah. Tricks him into it.
Okay. If your body does disappear, well, no. Okay, we don't.
No, skip.
Yep. If it doesn't disappear, contingency plans.
It's like a choose your own adventure. I like it.
If it doesn't disappear and Harry is just standing there with his face in the bowl, how does Dumbledore enter the memory?
They both stick their face in it?
I guess the bowl has to be big enough for the two of them?
Yeah, absolutely.
So is it limited to two then?
I mean, it depends how big the bowl is.
Okay.
You could probably have like a communal pensieve where like multiple people could stick their head, like a big old
just like a
trough.
Giant trough.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see the wizarding advertisement for the pensive trough.
Yeah.
Pensitrough.
They probably have something like that at the ministry.
Yeah.
Like in its own room.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
The conference room is instead of having a table with chairs around it, it's just a giant pensieve with.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there a fast forward and rewind functionality in the memory?
Nope.
No VHS.
You're not in control of it. You're just seeing it happen.
Observing. Yep.
That's why you have to go in multiple times if you want to see it again.
Could they have skipped the part where Ogden was walking to the cottage?
No.
Which, well, painted a lovely picture for the readers, served no purpose for Harry or Dumbledore.
Nope.
Was it really was it really necessary for them to walk to keep up with Ogden?
Yes.
If they had stood still, would they have been pushed along to continue to see what he was seeing?
No, they would have been pulled out of it.
When they were walking with Ogden, were they burning calories and working up a sweat?
No. Alex, stop being silly.
Can these memories be manipulated to create an alternate timeline like an underrated Ashton Kutcher movie, The Butterfly Effect?
No, absolutely not.
All right.
Come on.
Josh, please use your connections with J.K. Rowling to get me some more answers. I really need to know.
Don't even need to. I just laid it out for you, Alex. This is simple stuff. This is like the basic Wizarding 101 right here.
All right. Okay, I lied. There is one other thing. While reading the chapters this week, I was struck with a thought that have never occurred to me before. Fortunately, someone more artistically inclined than me had this thought and made it a reality to give me a nice laugh, which I will now pass on to you. You're welcome. Let's see if I can get this picture to work properly.
Okay. I mean, the other ones worked fine, so...
Yeah, I guess they worked, but just not how they usually work.
I mean, I opened it up and looked at them exactly the same. Nothing changed.
Yeah, but don't they usually just pop up there? You don't have to.
No, I still have to
open them
download them and I still have to view them.
Oh.
Yeah.
You see, like this one pops up
Okay.
as a picture in my feed.
That's true.
Yeah.
I still always have to open it like the smaller ones.
Sure.
I like it. I like it. I approve.
So,
that's the cover of the book.
Yes.
Huh, that's them looking at the mirror. I never look at the covers. I don't.
Yes. So this is an alternate cover for the Half-Blood Prince.
Yeah.
Titled.
And the Half-Blood artist formerly known as Prince.
Yes.
All right.
And so for those of you who are old enough, I'm sure you can picture what might be on this cover. I will once again throw it in the show notes for you, but you get the idea.
I'm just amazed that I saw that cover before we started the book, and I was like, I wonder what they're doing. Well, I'm sure we'll find out.
That's true, because you wouldn't even know what the pensieve is.
Yeah.
But,
didn't even cross my mind.
Yeah.
Which, that totally could have helped in my Muggle theories, Matt.
Yeah?
But no, I was just like, well, him and Dumbledore are doing something. Something to do with the Half-Blood Prince, I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go.
I need to start paying attention to the covers more.
Perhaps, although I think the cover to book 7 doesn't really give you much.
No, I think it's just Harry standing there.
Yeah, you've seen that one. Yeah, because it's used for other podcasts and stuff.
Yeah.
It's all over the place. All right. Final email from Wrestler Joe.
What's up, Wrestler Joe?
Says, hey guys, hope you guys had a great holiday. I'm going to keep this email somewhat short tonight. I have to work on getting my emails in earlier because I hate being towards the end. Oops. Last episode, while I was listening, I wanted to edit my email because I heard everyone asking the same questions and telling myself, here I am about to ask this question again. Or perhaps I need to get more creative with my emails. Maybe I can break down how many steps are in each staircase. Oh, wait, never mind.
No. Yeah, done.
Speaking of Alex, I'd like to address a question he brought up last episode. He was wondering why Snape... Oh boy. Why Snape would accept Defense Against Dark Arts students that only received an E instead of an O. My guess is why because he recently became a teacher, and when the students took their owls, they were told that they need a certain grade to move on in that subject. And they wouldn't be able to go back on that now after the fact, just because Snape was a teacher. Now going forward, I'd expect Snape not to accept E's in his new level classes, but that is if he is still Defense Against Dark Arts teacher next year.
Big if.
Yeah. Sorry, Joe. We have discussed that already. I'm sure he'll be disappointed.
Yep.
On to the chapters. I really enjoyed Chapter 10. Learning about Voldemort's history really piqued my interest, and I think that family dynamic they have going on is quite interesting. Josh, do you think all the classes that Dumbledore all the classes with Dumbledore are going to be similar to this one, or do you think there'll be something else also?
We'll see in the cover of the book. I feel like we're probably going to get some more memories.
Fair enough.
Yep.
Using the information you have.
I have to.
Chapter 11, had more conversation than action. I can't believe Hermione would cheat like that to help Ron make the team. Bitter Hagrid was hard to see. Glad to see they got that resolved pretty quickly, though. And did anyone think Snape was going to let Harry off with to go to Slughorn's party? I didn't think. Snape's response was great. He just said, no. So Snape. That's all for me. Good night.
Good night. All right. Awesome week of emails. As always. But this one, I liked quite a bit.
That's good.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys are awesome. Keep it up. You could always write in, talesfromgodricshollow@gmail.com. Anytime you want to reach out to Matt and share something or contribute to the show in any way, shape, or form. Matt, before we go, we need to announce next week's giveaway.
Yes, sir.
Why don't you tell the wonderful, beautiful people out there what they could possibly win?
Well, I hope you guys love Funko as much as I do. And even if you don't, you might like them a little more now, because I found yet another line of figures that I didn't even know existed before last week. From what I can tell, they did just come out this year sometime. So maybe you've heard of them, maybe not. It's called the Super Cute line. And there are currently 5 Harry Potter figures in this Super Cute line from Funko. These figures are kind of have the same style overall, if you want to say. Like the heads are big and the bodies are smaller. But the big difference is they're plush figures.
Right.
These aren't the standard figurines, like hard plastic figurines. They don't have bobbleheads or anything like that. They're like 8-inch plush figures. Mm-hmm. So they're pretty cool.
Yeah.
And, of course, they're super cute. So this week, I had to pick one of the 5 characters, and we went with Hermione, since she had a chapter title this week. So
she had a helping hand in this week's reading.
Yes.
That's right.
So yes, a Funko super cute Hermione plush figure.
Now we need is a method for people to enter this giveaway, Matt. I want everybody to open up their email tab, type up an email to talesfromgodricshollow@gmail.com, and basically, we're going to name something again.
We like that.
We need to name my Pygmy Puff that I have adopted.
That's right.
Yes. My purple Pygmy Puff still doesn't have a name. It's on my shelf, staring at me right now. It looks very sad that it isn't being called anything. So we need to name it. And I need your guys' help. The winner next week will be the official name of the Pygmy Puff. So make it good, folks. Make it good. Make it count.
All right.
So that's all you got to do. talesfromgodricshollow@gmail.com. Simple as that. Matt, thank you for another wonderful show. This has been a fun episode. Ended up having more to talk about than I thought, given the length of the chapters.
Yeah, can't complain about that, though.
But I think that's what's happened when I like the chapters more than not. So,
sure.
That's what you get, folks. Next week, we will be reading chapters 12 and 13 of Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. So be sure to get your reading in, and be sure to get your emails in a timely fashion. Joe, I'm looking at you. You could find me personally on Twitter at The Noise with a Y. You can follow the show on Twitter at Tales from GH. You can follow us on Instagram at Tales from Godric's Hollow. You can follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/Tales from Godric's Hollow. You can check out our website where you have the show notes, which will have all the pictures from tonight's email discussions. The shop with our hot merchandise is over there, and everything else you may need to know about us and the podcast, talesfromgodricshollow.com. And if you'd like to support us, like our wonderful headmistresses and everybody else out there, you could do so over at Patreon, patreon.com/Tales from Godric's Hollow. Matt, where can the people find you?
And you can always find me personally on Twitter at As a Matter of Matt. Otherwise, emails. I get them all week long. There's no time too early. There, is a time too late if you want to get on the episode. But anything you want to talk about, Harry Potter related, sometimes not even Harry Potter related. But you can reach me for giveaways and all of whatever emails. talesfromgodricshollow@gmail.com.
Beautiful. Looking forward to next week. I am quite a bit. I kind of want to read early just because I'm itching to know how the story progresses. We're at that point where that's where my mind is. So, it's pretty good.
That's good.
Thank you all for listening. Hope you have a wonderful week. And until next episode, Muggle out.
Mischief managed.